Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good morning, everybody. We meet again Monday, June 1st. It's going to be summer before we know it. I got a quick intro song for you, and we're going to get into all the news updates. Thanks so much for being here. Hit the thumbs up. Enjoy the tune, and we'll get started.
I am sitting in the morning at the diner on the corner. I am waiting at the counter for the man to pour the coffee, and he fills it only halfway, and before I even argue, he is looking out the window at somebody coming in. It is always nice to see you, says the man behind the counter to the woman who has come in. She is shaking her umbrella, and I look the other way as they are kissing their hellos, and I'm pretending not to see them, and instead I pour the milk. I open up the paper. There's a story of an actor who had died while he was drinking. It was no one I had heard of, and I'm turning to the horoscope and looking for the funnies when I'm feeling someone watching me, and so I raise my head. There's a woman on the outside looking inside. Does she see me? No, she does not really see me, 'cause she sees her own reflection, and I'm trying not to notice that she's hitching up her skirt, and while she's straightening her stockings, her hair has gotten wet. Oh, this rain, it will continue through the morning as I'm listening to the bells of the cathedral. I am thinking of your voice and of the midnight picnic once upon a time before the rain began. And I finish up my coffee, and it's time to catch the train.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. What's up, everybody? Suzanne Vega, Tom's Diner. I know everyone knows that song. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to start straight away with an update of the Longview paper mill implosion that occurred last week. Many updates. It seems all the victims have been found. I have a couple of press conferences, and I also have a more detailed list. Well, here's the thing. I have the list of everyone who perished in the accident. I don't have all the photos. It was too difficult to find proper photos for everyone. The last thing in the world I want to do is have someone's name next to a photograph that's not them. So bear with me. I should have that all taken care of and done for you guys tomorrow. Let me look at chat, see who's here. I'm nursing a bit of a sore throat, so bear with my whisper talk. Rhonda Good was the first one here. Deb Mundorf, so good to see you as always. Let me get some music on here. There we go. And good morning, by the way. It's not often you have a Monday on the 1st, so what a way to start June. Rod, what's up, my friend? Welcome in. Tennis Ball Temmie, welcome back. Queen Moomin. Joe's in the house. Good to see you, Joe. Good morning, Oki. How are you? TLC is me. Always a pleasure. Linda Lou is in the house. I'll be here quietly listening. Yes, I decided to go with a more mellow intro song today. Man, that song is just about perfect for what we're up to. Good morning, Headstones. Hope you're doing well. Steph Faith, good to see you, my dear. I hope you're doing well. It's good to hear they've been recovered. Yes, and it was no small feat. They utilize all types of technology. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Let me get this here. Let me get rid of this guy. All kinds of updates. So we'll start with the latest press conference that was yesterday, and then we'll look at a couple of news articles as well. I will be reading the list of all the victims of this tragic accident. One in particular, it's very heartbreaking. One of these guys had been complaining about the safety issues to the extent where he was actively looking for another job. So I have a bad feeling that more of this type of news is going to come out, but we can't worry about that now. It's let's just keep these families in prayers. Keep these families in your prayers. I can't imagine what this is like. Like I said, this is a town of 38. I think they said 38,000 people. Not very many people. So this has affected the entire community. The whole town is full of strangers from the EPA and all types of governmental agencies. It's like a living hell for the people there right now. So please be aware of that in chat. Be respectful. Not like I have to tell you. All of you are. I just want to make sure. So we'll start here with the first video I've got, and it's the most updated press conference. Let me just get this loaded up right. There was a long wait at the podium for this press conference. What's up, Diesel's mom? Good morning. Chicana Army Brad is back with us. Thanks so much for being here. I think I get everybody. If I missed you, please don't take it personally. I try to say hello to everyone. Sometimes my goofy ass misses somebody. Okay, let me get this here. And hopefully they've been doing a really good job with the press conference in the way of repeating the questions from the journalists. So hopefully that continues again today. If not, I will do my best to make sure you understand what they're talking about. All right, let's see here. And let me get rid of this background so it's not too distracting. What's going on out there? What have I missed? Like I said, for those of you that don't know, I'll be doing the morning news show every morning at 7 o'clock, every weekday. And every weekday afternoon at 5 p.m., we'll do the drama streams. There's always going to be drama. So let's just jump into it. If you have any questions, please post them in chat. I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brad Hannig, Bradhannig. Fire Chief for Longview Fire Department. Today, on day 5 of this incident, I can share that we have recovered the 9th and final missing employee of this incident. As incident commander and as your fire chief, as a member of this community, I hope today will give the families so affected by this incident the closure needed to begin the long process of healing. I want to thank the families for their patience. As a crew, response crews have worked to successfully locate and recover all victims of this tragedy. I also want to thank the counselors, chaplains for their support of the families and coworkers as they have navigated this life-changing event. I also want to thank all our local, state, federal, and contracted partners that have helped accomplish the recovery efforts. Lastly, I want to thank the community for the outpouring of support to the families and first responders that we have received as we have carefully conducted the recovery operations. Your prayers, your donations, your encouragement, every action and every word has helped us get to this point.
Man, you could really tell. I'm sure you guys can recognize it too. These guys are bushed. I mean, could you imagine? I probably haven't slept for 5 days. What a difficult job. Hats off to them.
I will now turn it over to Cowlitz County Coroner Dana Tucker.
Thank you, Chief. The Cowlitz County Coroner's Office extends our deepest condolences to the families, friends, co-workers, and all those affected by the tragic mass casualty incident that occurred on Tuesday, May 26th at the Nippon Dynawave packaging plant in Longview, Washington. First, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who has assisted in this response. Specifically, I want to thank the agencies and organizations that work directly with my office in the recovery efforts to help bring our victims home to their families. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of my staff at the Cowlitz County Coroner's Office, Cowlitz County Sheriff's Department, Longview Police Department, Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue, Longview Fire Department, the United States Army, United States Air Force, United States Coast Guard, and Republic Services, and I know I'm forgetting somebody. We also thank the Union Hall for providing a facility for the families to gather as we all respond to this, the crisis response team, Cowlitz County chaplains, Cowlitz and Lewis County Emergency Management, and many volunteers who supported this effort. The outpouring of support for our community and neighboring communities has been enormous. Countless individuals and organizations have provided food, beverages, supplies, and other resources for the Family Assistance Center, as well as for many responders working this tragic incident. Your compassion and generosity has been deeply appreciated. On Tuesday, May 26, 2026, I was notified of the tragic event at the plant. Our office immediately began preparing for what we knew would be one of the most significant tragedies our community has experienced since the eruption of Mount St. Helens. As of this afternoon, our office has recovered and identified all 9 missing individuals, along with one that was transported to St. John's Medical Center. I was also notified that another victim had been transported south to Portland Hospital. That makes 11. Our office has identified the following decedents: 52-year-old Gilberto Burnell. 29-year-old Tyler Covington. 27-year-old Brad Covington. 48-year-old Robert Wilson. 54-year-old Dale Miller. 35-year-old Jared Ammons. 38-year-old Braden Finkus. 26-year-old Clinton Duran. 51-year-old John Forsberg. And 58-year-old Norman Barlow. We ask everybody to respect the privacy, time, and space.
What I'd like to do is just add a little more information about each one of those individuals. Like I said, I'm having a bit of a difficult time finding photographs that represent the actual people. There's stock footage being used in some articles. It's very difficult. So just bear with me while I read this to you here. This is a list of those lost in this accident, and this is the largest catastrophe in Washington state history. So wrap your head around that. Yes, they were all so young. Okay, so bear with me as I read these. I'll do my best to not mispronounce any of their names. Jared Ammons, 35. He's from Longview, Washington, so he's a hometown boy there. He was an expectant father who went to work early that morning so he could accompany his wife to prenatal appointment later that day. Norman Barlow, 58, from Vancouver, Washington. He was the final victim recovered from the facility. Gilbert Bernal from Kelso, Washington. He was a grandfather and worked as an electrician for the plant for 16 years. Bradley, quote, Brad Covington, 27, from Castle Rock, Washington. Couldn't find much information about him, but he was a newer employee at the plant. Tyler Covington, 29, from Castle Rock, Washington. Clinton Duran, 26, of Kelso, Washington. Braden Finkus, 38, from Calumet, Washington. He worked as an electrician at the plant and was planning to get married soon. John Forsberg, 51, of Longview, Washington, another hometown boy. He was a father of 2 young children. Dale Miller, 54, of Portland, Oregon, a journeyman, millwright, and grandfather. He had been working at the mill for about 5 months. Dylan Miller, unfortunately, I couldn't find a proper age confirmation nor his hometown, so I do apologize for that. And Robert Wilson, 48, from Clatskanie, Oregon. I just want to put that in there to give you a little more information on these guys. Family men, local to the town, like I said, 38,000 people. Everybody knows everybody. This is affecting everyone, as you can imagine.
Of these families as they navigate this unimaginable loss. This is a horrific tragedy that has profoundly impacted our community, and we appreciate the public's continued compassion and support. I want to also note, I forgot to mention, he's not in my jurisdiction, but since he was here in one of the 11, I was notified it was Dylan Miller. In closing, I'd like to now turn things over to Deputy Chief Kurt Stitch with Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue.
Good afternoon. My name is Kurt Stitch. I'm the Deputy Chief with Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue, and I've been serving as the Operations Chief for this incident. That is Kurt Stitch, Kurtstich. Today, as with other days, our crews were working in indoor areas that was littered with desks and large cabinets and debris that was from this event. It was physically laborious work. It was very difficult. There was heavy items to be moved, and they had to continually inspect the area. Meanwhile, we were also conducting drone flyovers where we were trying to cover areas that we had not yet encountered to make sure that we were not missing anything.
I should also say that there is some footage of the wreckage inside of the building that he's speaking on. I don't feel comfortable showing that. As you can imagine, it's just as terrible as you can imagine. If you are interested in that, it's out there. I don't see how that benefits us.
We're also walking areas to ensure that same thing. This work has been intense, it's been methodical, and incredibly difficult for everyone that's been involved. From the operations section, I'm grateful for the professionalism of all who participated in this event. Now I would like to turn it over to Scott Tift, the president of the AWPPW.
Good afternoon. Scott Tift, S-C-O-T-T-T-I-F-T. I am the Association of Western Pulp and Paper Workers National Union President. First and foremost, our thoughts remain with the families, co-workers, and everyone impacted by this tragedy. The loss and heartbreak being experienced right now extends far beyond this facility and far beyond this community. Entire families, lifelong friendships, workplaces, and communities across the region have been deeply affected. And our entire union stands beside every person carrying that grief and uncertainty today. As someone who lives here and knows many of these families, I want to acknowledge the extraordinary outpouring of love and support this community has shown. Over the past several days, people from across this region and across the country have stepped up in ways that have been deeply meaningful to our members and their families during the darkest moments of their lives. I also want to recognize and thank the recovery personnel, emergency responders, contractors, facility personnel, and everyone working on site. The efforts to safely recover our members required extraordinary professionalism, care, and coordination under incredibly difficult and dangerous conditions. And that meant more than words can express to these families and to this union. We understand the surrounding how long this process has taken, but it was critical that this work be done carefully, methodically, and safely. It was equally important that recovery efforts were conducted in a way that preserved the integrity of the scene and ensures investigators have the ability to fully determine what happened and get these families and this community the answers they deserve. Our union is continuing to coordinate with local, state, and federal agencies as these efforts move forward. Right now, our focus remains on supporting the families, supporting our members, and supporting everyone affected by this tragedy in every way possible. These were not just employees or union members, they were fathers, sons, friends, mentors, and co-workers who help build this facility and this community every single day. We honor their lives, we stand with their families they leave behind, and we remain committed to stand with this community through every step of the investigation and cleanup process ahead. We would like all donations to be sent. They should be sent directly to www.cwclc.org. Thank you.
If you give me just one moment, I'll go ahead and get that link for you guys if you're feeling generous and you want to do what you can to help these folks.
Good afternoon. I'm Frangie Mays, PIO for this event. Now we'll take your questions. Please raise your hand. We'll call on you. State your name and the media outlet you represent. And to allow everyone a chance to ask a question, please limit yourself to one question at a time. And we'll conclude the question and answers at 4 p.m., no later than 4 p.m. Questions?
Why can't they come over here and ask the company questions?
I don't know if I can answer that question.
What about you, Mr. Wood?
I mean, there's no disrespect to the families, right? It's just been the policy for the conferences. So we've just allowed media in. There's absolutely no disrespect to them, from what I understand. So it's just been policy. So I apologize. Yes, sir.
Can Ms. Tucker describe the process for identifying these victims this past week? What's been like for your office?
So our office has multiple ways of identifying. Here on scene was a little bit more complicated, but we do a tentative identification. My staff in the very beginning ask multiple questions of identifying factors, and then as we brought one person in, then I went through those identifying factors and was able to take that list and compare them with multiple different areas of that. Now, and each individual went through that process, and that's how I was able to identify them. We call it tentatively because we're required to do a forensic identification. So each one of them will also go through that process of a forensic identification, which would be, at the moment, say dental records or whatever. So once we get them where they need to go, then we coordinate with our odontologist, our anthropologist, whoever, and then we can take certain things to be able to do a forensic identification. But as of currently, I have multiple identifying factors to be able to identify each one of them. Okay. Did that answer your question?
I guess also, can you describe just the uniqueness of these of a scene like this, given all the hazardous conditions as well?
I don't think that that's appropriate at the moment. I'll just say it was a little bit difficult. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Jeff, you, Cairo 7. Now that the recovery is finished, what does the rest of the cleanup look like? I mean, we saw some heavy machinery going around today. How does this change things, and what is the next few days?
Well, on site, they'll begin the investigation process, which has already began, and the recovery efforts of the facility. That's a process that will continue through the days, weeks, potentially months, as Nippon decides what they do with the facility from here moving forward. I can't answer those questions, but I can get with the PIO and have the details of that brought forward to you at a later date. But as of now, for our part, as we're still working on the ensuring that, and I'll leave that answer to Chris Collins. You want to answer that question?
Sure.
Mike?
Hi, Chris Collins, CHRISCOLLINS. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Longview. The on-site work will continue to mitigate the site. The off-site work is ongoing as we continue to mitigate any contaminants or issues that both immediate as well as ongoing.
How do you mitigate that?
Many factors. There's many methods in which we're applying to mitigate any off-site contamination and impacts. So lots of different things.
Next question. You want to answer that?
Yeah.
I do apologize. I couldn't hear that question at all. So hopefully, and it seems that they're not doing quite the bang up job that they did in the past with repeating the questions from the media. I'm not gonna judge them today. They must be so tired. So hopefully this will be understandable.
Well, what I can tell you is that Brooks Stanfield, Brooks Stanfield. I'm with the EPA. I'm a federal on-scene coordinator. As we've talked about in past days, We have seen dead fish in the ditches in the canal network in Longview, and the numbers have steadily increased day to day. We've seen an increasing number of those dead fish. We continue to observe ourselves, and we're getting reports through our hotline that are reporting in dead fish, and that's actually helping our crews direct our resources to go and see, investigate those areas and recover those fish where we can, where it's safe to do so. We think that system is working, and so we are still encouraging the public to use that hotline, which is 1-800-22-BIRDS, BIRDS. Other than those dead fish, there have been a few tadpoles and other small wildlife such as that have been observed dead, but that is the extent of what we've observed in terms of wildlife impacts.
Okay, one more question.
I mean, there's nothing I can do. I can't hear a word she's saying. I hear someone with a bad muffler.
Well, I'm not prepared to make any of those. I'm not prepared to give any of those answers today. We just kind of wanted to focus on the recovery efforts and successes that we've had recently. So if we can keep the comments and questions to those relevant topics, please. Thank you. That's a great question. I don't have the full details of all the conditions of the patients because they were transferred to multiple facilities, and there's laws against us getting all that information quickly. So I'll have our PIO send out something in the future to give some more details on.
I made my best effort to get a list of the those recovering from injuries sustained in this accident. It's like finding needles in haystacks. We're just gonna have to be patient and wait for the families to share this information.
Topic.
Where exactly are these dead fish being found? Like in a particular neighborhood or street, or can you give a more specific location?
I think Washington Department of Ecology actually has better detail for you on that.
So I'm Courtney Sarad, the State On Scene Coordinator with the Washington State Department of Ecology, COURTNEYSERAD. So as my colleague with the EPA stated earlier, we have had vast numbers of reports, and those reports are continuing to help us target our efforts. We have had reports of fish predominantly in the ditches, and the vast majority of those fish are carp. We have been working on other alternatives to collect more of the fish, and we continue to be successful in doing that.
Would you say that the dead fish are closer to the facility, or?
The majority of the fish that we are collecting are closer to the ditches.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you.
I just have a clarifying question, just about design and planning.
So there you have it. You can clearly see that these poor guys, their energy zapped, as you can imagine. I did pin the official donation site. If you'd like to donate, let me just pull up that site so we can look at it together. And I do hope this is tricky. I do hope that this donation site is set up to actually help the families. The site itself seems strange to me. It's a labor council site, but let's have a look at it ourselves. Let me see here. Bear with me. And thanks again for being here. Welcome in, Miss Cheese 8. Have a good day, Emmy. Let's see here. All right, so here's the official donation site. If you'd like to help, this is the official way to do it. Let's have a look and see what they're saying here. As you can see, most of you have seen this already. I'm still patiently waiting to see if there were any security cameras at the facility. Obviously, when billion-dollar insurance companies are involved, that video is going to be pretty tough to find. But if believe me, I'm trying, and if I do, I'll share it with you this week. I'll just read this. While our community grapples with the recent Nippon Dynawave implosion, organized labor is stepping up to help workers and families impacted by this tragedy. And I'm definitely going to butcher this. I'm just going to say the CWC. I'll excuse me. I'll try it. Cowlitz. I can't even do it. I have no idea how to say that. Wakiakum. That's a tough one. The Colwitz Wakiakum Labor Central Labor Council and Association of Western Pulp and Paper Works have come together to establish a fund at the Lower Columbia Longshoremen's Federal Credit Union that will provide support for the families struggling with financial burdens caused by this implosion. The LCLFCU members can transfer funds directly from their accounts to this fund. Donations can also be made at the FIBRA Federal Credit Union and Red Canoe Credit Union branches. Non-members can make contributions at the LCLFCU's main branch at 629 14th Avenue, Longview, Washington. And then there's a map in case you need that, or they can mail a check to, and then there's a site here. Let's see. And it looks like they have a Venmo. Longview Strong. Okay. It says the Venmo and bank account was created by CWCLC exclusively for donations to support those impacted by the tragedy on May 26, 2026. All funds will be deposited into an account at the Lower Columbia Longshoremen's Credit Union. They will then be turned over to the AWPPW, who administer the process for making sure the donations get to those in need. Let's see here. Well, we missed this. I would have shared this. I would have made a short about this. I do apologize. I missed it. It looks like they did have a fundraiser at the North County Coffee and Bakery. I will, as I play the next video, I will try to see if I can get an idea of how much money was raised there for the folks. And it looks like there was another fundraiser, a barbecue fundraiser on the 30th, which was Saturday, at Bob's Sporting Goods. Man, it's just terrible. I didn't expect reading those names. It would catch me off guard. I almost got choked up. It's when you think about how tragic this is and it doesn't get you, then you're just not human. Okay, so this is Tuesday, tomorrow, Tuesday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Columbia Theater. Court Carpenter, looks like it must be a local musician. 100% of the proceeds from this special acoustic concert goes to Nippon Family Foundation. Tickets are $30 at the Columbia Theater ticket box office. So if you're not too far in Washington, maybe go have a drive and take part in one of these fundraisers. Then there's another one here at the Shamrock Bar and Grill. I'm not going to lie, guys. It makes me kind of nervous that all these individual entities are having fundraisers. Hopefully, no one's being advantageous. I've seen no signs of that. So, I just hope, it makes me nervous. Let's see. So this one says, join us as we come together to support the families and workers affected by the tragedy. All proceeds go directly to the disaster efforts set up. So I'm assuming that they're going to be contributing to the main funds here. Let's see here. Several restaurants and bars in the area, including Madalena's Italian Cafe, the Triangle Tavern, and the Silver Star Sports Bar and Grill, asking patrons to round up their checks to support the families. Hey, Michelle 420, good to see you. Miss Cheese, I didn't say hello. Tennis Ball Temi. Yes, and as Emmy said here, I just can't imagine the family lost two sons and all the others affected. Yeah, two of the victims were brothers. Terrible. All right, so that's that. We're going to move on. If you'd like to contribute, please do. I will keep my eye on any events coming up in that way, and let you know as soon as I know. So we have one more video. This is a news video, and then we're going to keep it moving to the next story. Give me 1 second here. And good morning, by the way, everyone. This is a tough story. Hope everyone's feeling good out there. Let's see where. Okay, so there's two stories that I'd like to share with you. The first is the local news story there. I think this is it here. Give me 1 second. Yes, there we go. So there are some photographs of the victims of this horrific tragedy. My plan is to compile photographs and names and brief bios on each of these individual people. Like they said in the press conference, these are people's brothers, best friends, best men, godfathers, you name it. So let me just pull this up real quick. And it is encouraging to see that the 11th, all 11 people have been now recovered from the scene.
This is a horrific tragedy that has profoundly impacted our community.
Authorities in Longview say they have now recovered the remains of all the workers who were killed in a paper plant implosion earlier this week. Good evening, all. I'm Michelle Esteban. Glad you're with us tonight. 11 men died on Tuesday when a large tank holding corrosive liquid ruptured at the Nippon Dynawave plant that's in Longview. KOMO's Jeremy Harris has been following the developments throughout the evening tonight. He joins us now live with this update. Jeremy.
Yeah, the site of that blast was unstable for several days, and that's why it took authorities 5 days to recover all 11 victims, all of whom were men who showed up for work on Tuesday, never to make it home. After days of meticulous work at the site of a paper mill blast in Longview, authorities have finished the somber task of recovering the remains of all 11 men who were killed in the implosion.
I hope today will give the families so affected by this incident the closure needed to begin the long process of healing.
The stories of the victims are now coming to light. 38-year-old Braden Finkus worked at the paper plant and was building a life in Longview with his girlfriend.
They were just planning a trip to Italy in 2 weeks. He had a lot of surprises coming up for her that he had talked to us about, and we're sad that he's just not here to see all of their plans.
He was going to propose. That's what the trip to Italy was. So if he can't get any more heartbreaking, right? Jeez, man.
Come to, fruition.
Norman Barlow, the oldest victim at 58.
And as a wrestler, there's a game called The Last Man Standing, and he was a wrestler, and he would have been the last man standing. And that's what he showed us today, that he was the last one out and the last man standing.
Clinton C.J. Duran was the youngest of the victims at just 26.
This is a horrific tragedy that has profoundly impacted our community, and we appreciate the public's continued compassion and support.
With the remains of all victims now accounted for, the next steps include environmental cleanup, which could take months. Investigators also don't know what caused the catastrophic blast inside the storage tank for the highly corrosive liquid used in the paper-making process. Today, the Cowlitz County coroner said this is the largest mass casualty incident they have dealt with since the eruption of Mount St. Helens. The task now is going to be cleanup and investigation. Today, the Department of Ecology here in Washington State said that the air readings around the plant are looking good. There's no danger there in Longview, and they are monitoring any of the spill areas, but they say a lot of it's already been diluted, and that investigation into the exact cause of this, that could take months for federal regulators to figure out. Reporting live in Seattle, Jeremy Harris, KOMO News.
Boy, since Mount St. Helens, that puts it in perspective. Jeremy, thank you for that update. We want to tell you that all 11 of the victims were identified today, and we have received some of their photos. They are 52-year-old Gilbert Bernal, 29-year-old Tyler Covington, and his brother, 27-year-old Brad Covington, 48-year-old Robert Wilson, 54-year-old Dale Miller, 35-year-old Jared Ammons, 38-year-old Braden Finkus, 26-year-old Clinton Doran, 51-year-old John Forsberg, and 58-year-old Norman Barlow, and lastly, Dylan Miller. Tonight, we heard from the Association of Western Pulp and Paper Workers Union. They represent the workers at Nippon. In a statement, they say this in part, quote, "Our union's focus remains on supporting the families affected by this tragedy, assisting our members and co-workers, and ensuring the community continues to have access to resources, support, and accurate information during an incredibly difficult period of grief and uncertainty." Governor Bob Ferguson has directed that all state and U.S. flags in Washington fly at half-staff in the memory of the victims all day tomorrow. Some of the survivors of Tuesday's blast were taken to the burn center at Lacey Emanuel Hospital in Portland. While some have been released, they do have a long road of recovery ahead. Shelby Slaughter with our Portland sister station with a closer look now.
It's not the usual, fortunately, but this can happen.
Multiple people who survived the explosion at the Nippon facility on Tuesday were taken here to Legacy Emanuel, where they were treated for chemical burns from the blast. Officials at the hospital tell K2 the chemicals that make up white liquor can have devastating impacts on anyone who comes into contact with it. A former employee tells K2 if white liquor comes into contact with your skin, it can go all the way to the bone. Hospital staff saying this was the first time some at the hospital had dealt with this chemical.
White liquor, I don't deal with. This is the first time.
Dr. Nick Eshraghi tells me, while some of the patients from the blast have been discharged from the hospital, many still have potentially a very long road to recovery.
This was what was unique about this event, that it was a very concentrated caustic amount of alkali solution at a very high volume that exposed these individuals and caused these unfortunate injuries.
That was Shelby Slaughter reporting for us. Stick with KOMO News for continuing coverage of the Longview chemical tank disaster. We will have updates right here on air and on KOMOnews.com. You can also get the newest developments online. Just scan the QR code on your screen, which will take you directly to KOMOnews.com.
And of course, that's a local news agency, and they've been doing a great job. I've been purposely avoiding any of the descriptive, any kind of graphic descriptions of injuries. I don't see a benefit to us. Like I said, just keep these folks in your prayers. So there's an element to this, and this is going to make a lot of you mad. It made me mad. So just stand by and let me pull this video up. It turns out one of the victims of this horrific tragedy was a bit of a whistleblower, and he'd been complaining about the safety conditions at this establishment for months, and so much so that he was actively looking for other employment. So expect quite possibly one of the biggest lawsuits you'll ever see in your life as a result of this. That's the ugly side. The ugly side of tragedy is the lawyers pull in with their briefcases, and oftentimes the victims become secondary. So we'll keep the victims in the forefront of this, and I'll continue giving you updates. Bear with me while I pull up this video, and prepare yourself to be very pissed off, because well, you'll see. I debated whether I should show this, but I think it's an important part of this story. Let me see. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. There it is. Oh, this is a very brief video as well. Oh yes, I mean the federal agencies, the EPA, labor organizers and lawyers. So in a town of this size, I mean, they're trying to grieve, and there's just tons of strangers with briefcases all around them. So hopefully everybody has the proper intentions with this situation. When it comes to lawyers, you know, you can't trust them as far as you can throw them. So it does disgust me that lawyers are going to be buying houses off of the money made from the death of people. But what can you do about that? Okay, have a look.
They were pregnant with their first child together. He went into work early that day so that he could get off early and go for the first ultrasound and see his baby. He didn't come home.
Tonight we're learning more about one of the Longview victims, Jared Ammons, who was expecting a baby with his wife, as you just heard there. He also leaves behind some other children, according to an online fundraiser. An attorney for Jared's wife says he had told her about dangerous conditions at the mill. That attorney now says more people are bringing up safety concerns.
There are a lot of people that are willing to come forward and talk about.
And in come the lawyers, as you see. I will say that I did my due diligence in researching this paper mill. It was just purchased a few years ago by a Japanese company. In fact, that's what the word Nippon means. It just means Japan. This facility was built in 1958, and before that there was a similar establishment there. So it seems like, you know, this gentleman here was whistleblowing as you know, in the way of safety conditions. There's no way that he's the only one. So I have nothing nice to say about that.
Things that have been a problem at that facility for years. And they're all saying it was preventable.
King 5 investigators found the State Department of Labor and Industry cited Nippon Dynawave 4 times for safety violations between 2019 and 2025. They also have an active investigation into a complaint.
Most of those 4 incidents that are cited were minimal, and they were levied fines against the company that were menial, a couple $1,000s. So I'm not sure. I did my best to try to find out exactly what's what, but it's not as easy as you think.
Complaint about a valve on an ammonia tank, which does not involve the tank that imploded.
All right. And just this last one. I think this is a story of the same gentleman, but just from a different reporter. And we'll leave this here after this video. We'll move on to the next story. But of course, all of this week, I'll be giving updates as they become available.
We do have some idea of what investigators might be looking into as they search for answers here. And we also have a firsthand account from a man who worked with white liquor, the chemical that's claimed so many lives.
250 miles upriver from the site of Tuesday's tragedy, on the banks of the Columbia in central Washington, sits the Packaging Corporation of America paper plant.
Well, I mean, you're dealing with hydrochloric acid, you're dealing with sulfuric acid.
Mickey Deer.
Yes, this was, I think all of the victims were part of the union. In fact, the official fundraiser is going there. So use your discretion is what I'd say. I'm going to dig around and see if I can find individual, fundraisers for individual families. Of course, from my perspective, it's probably good that there's one centralized location for the fundraisers. That way, one family doesn't receive more help than another family. I'm going to do my best to try to figure that out. It's not something you just Google. You really have to dig. So I wasn't able to find, I found a few. I don't feel comfortable sharing pay links unless I know it's official. So it's, I'm just trying to play it safe here. But I do urge you, if you have a few extra dollars, to consider doing a little bit of work and finding out what the proper, fundraiser is, and go ahead. These people are in need of our help, and maybe don't send your money to YouTubers this week. Maybe send it to a family in need instead. That's always my opinion.
Worked at PCA doing the exact same job, known as craft pulping.
It is dangerous. This stuff can eat your skin, melt your skin.
As workers at the Nippon Dynawave plant in Longview, several of whom died from chemical burns in Tuesday's accident.
Since you were so close to that kind of work, I just assume that sort of might have struck you differently than the average person.
No, it does, because you work with these people. I mean, and you know the dangers. It's unfortunate, and I feel for the families.
Deering was among 200 workers laid off in February when PCA shut down craft pulping operations at its Tri-Cities area plant. But, like experts we spoke to who did not want to appear on camera, he called the implosion of such a large tank highly unusual.
I mean, it was hard for me to understand what happened, because it almost seems like there has to be some kind of suction that was created, like something was blocked that made it implode, within itself. I don't know if it was a temperature problem inside the tank. It could have been an operator error. It was how many gallons is going in, how many gallons is going out. I don't understand, how there was not any warning signs that that tank was.
Yeah, there's no real reliable sources explaining what physically happened to that tank. A lot of suspicion. People think because of the time of the year, there was, radical temperature flux of the tank because, it's springtime, it's warming up, warm days, cold nights, really causes, stress on those metals that make up the container. And if there were already not visible fractures and things like that to the situation, I just truly hope they can get to the bottom of this. Also, the manufacturers of this tank are trying to organize and figure. And now they have to inspect every tank that's this size and shape and constructed by this company, every other place in the country that they are. So this has reverberations that go much further than just Longview, Washington. As you can imagine, every facility with similar tanks, they're all being inspected this week. So a lot of hard work ahead of a lot of people. So keep them in your thoughts.
There was a problem inside that tank.
He wonders if there was a ventilation or a flow valve that got stuck, some kind of weakness in the tank, or a maintenance issue perhaps.
And keep in mind, this is just one gentleman's opinion who's familiar with this type of operation. Nothing official has been produced in the way of explaining what physically happened to the tank.
These kind of tanks require regular maintenance and inspections. These are all things that we expect investigators are looking into in their search for answers. I'm Chris Ingles in the King 5 newsroom.
Thanks, Chris Ingles. Oh, I didn't mean to press that. Okay, let me get out of here. Okay, if you could just excuse me for 1 second as I go top off my coffee. I'll throw in a quick song for you guys. If you can just bear with me. Nothing works without coffee. So this is a good spot for you to go grab some coffee too. I don't even know what kind of, I just try to be so sensitive to these live streams, completely different from what I'm used to. So let me just try to find a song that might be applicable here. And thanks again, guys, for being here. Please hit the thumbs up. This is tough stuff. Let's see here. What should I play? Oh, I don't even know. I wasn't prepared for this. All right, give me 1 second. Let's see here. Man, hold on. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I think I've got a song. It's not going to be disrespectful to what we're up to here. Let's see here. Ooh. And this is a highly copyrighted song, so if for some reason it kicks me off of here, I will pop right back up. So this is a 3 minutes and 42 seconds long. I'll be right back with you in 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Please enjoy this song. This is Ed Sheeran. Name of the song is Supermarket Flowers.
I took the supermarket flowers from the windowsill. I threw the day-old tea from the cup. Packed up the photo album Matthew had made. Memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals. Poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down. But Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up. But I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, He'll say, hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, He'll say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, He said hallelujah, you're home.
Oops. Wow, that's a that's a sad stinking song right there. But I think appropriate for what we're up to today. Welcome in, Georgia Peach. Thank you so much for being here. Musta Got Lost is with us. Oi, oi, oi. Everyone can see Rod. Rod's got a new Samsung. He says, I had a Motorola. It was terrible. Now I got a Samsung. Me too, man. Samsung users unite. They're just incredible phones. Before I had this Samsung, I had like, I don't even know what it was. It was just a cheap cricket ass phone. But I did get the most out of it. I tell you what, I was able to go live on that thing. not efficiently, but I was. All right, so now we're gonna move on to another story. This one I find very interesting. I think you may as well. I can't find much in the way of videos about this, so you have to bear with my my gruff voice this morning as I read it to you. There we go. Let me just get to the page so I can see it properly. This is Native News Online, warrior journalism defending tribal sovereignty. The Army conducts ninth year of disinterment and return of Native American children at Carlisle Barracks. The U.S. Army will continue its commitment to reunite Native American and Alaskan Native families with their loved ones through its 9th year of discernment operations at the Carlisle Barracks beginning September 1st, 2026. So just a few months away. The Army is actively working to help bring healing and closure to the 5 Native American tribes and 4 Alaskan Native families whose children died after being sent to the Carlisle Indian Industrial School and who were buried there more than 100 years ago. On behalf of the Army, the Office of Army Cemeteries is scheduled to begin a multi-phase discernment program in September with forensic archaeologists, archaeological and anthropological expertise from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The descendants will be disinterred at, you know what? I have to search and see what this word means because it's cited several times and I'm just unfamiliar. If I don't know what it is, that means a couple of you don't know what it is. So just give me 1 second and let me just figure this out. Okay, so disinterred, to dig up, unearth, or remove a body from a grave, tomb, or earth. Okay, so they're relocating them. It's also a figurative meaning, bringing something from obscurity like a forgotten fact or old secret back into the light. Taking a deceased person out of their resting place. This is usually done to relocate them to another cemetery or undergo medical legal investigation. Okay. The descendants who will be disinterred are Alaskan natives Mabel Stock, Edward Engellook, Lucy Spalding, and Tomikok, Peter Howe, Richard Morgan, Christine Redstone from the Fort Peck tribes, Francis Bones, that's a great name, Francis Bones from the Comanche Nation, Fanny Gibson from the Absentee Shawnee tribe, Della Atkins from the Shoshone, I don't want to mispronounce that, the Shoshone tribes, Susie King from the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, Margaret Davis from Keweenaw Bay Indian Community. It is a profound privilege for the Army to continue the Carlisle Barracks disinterment program this year, says Karen Durham Aguilera, Executive Director of the National Military Cemeteries and the Offices of Army Cemeteries. What an interesting thing. I've never heard of that before. I'm not sure if you guys have the Office of Army Cemeteries. Interesting. The unwavering dedication of the 5 Native American tribes and 4 Alaskan Native families is truly inspiring, and we honor to support them and the planned return of their children. In 1879, the Carlisle Barracks became the site of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School. As we know, there were tons of these schools that were set up trying to assimilate the native people to the ways of the invaders. Just brutal. They essentially kidnapped their children and tried to make them assimilate into their way of life. As we know, the American, as a country, we continue to disrespect and dishonor mostly all of our Native people. As we know, if a Native American woman goes missing from a reservation, it doesn't make the news. You know, us as a society, for some reason, we don't hold as much value. And I know that's not true about you guys here, but it's still true. Let's see. Let's start this paragraph over. In 1879, the Carlisle Barracks became the site of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, which operated by the Department of Interior until 1918. The school enrolled nearly 8,000 Native American children, with representation of over 100 Native American tribes from across the nation. The OAC will disinter and transfer the custody of the family's tribes to tribes able to establish the closest family link and the descendant and requester following Army Regulations 290-5. The transfer of custody will enable families and tribes to return these children to an internment location of their choice. The Army will reimburse the families for their travel to participate in the disinterment process and subsequent transfer ceremony and the cost of transport and reinterment of their children. Good. They should be compensated for their travel and time in this. The Office of Army Cemeteries team is inspired by the strength and courage of the Native American Alaskan tribes as they make their journey to bring their children home, and said Director of the Office of Army Cemeteries, Renee Yates. Excuse me. Please excuse me. I have a bit of a cough. Good morning, KCG. It's good to see you. And I'm sorry if I missed anybody else coming in. What's up, Sigma? Good to see you, my friend. Those are Michigan tribes. Okay. Let's see. As we continue. I'm sorry. I've got a bit of a cough. I mute the not cough in your ear. Let's see. Navigating the disinterment and return process requires the highest level of professional care and compassion. We are committed to providing the expert assistance needed to return their loved ones to their families and communities. The Carlisle Barracks Post Cemetery will be closed to visitors on August 14th when the setup begins. Okay, so this is later this summer. I'm going to keep a tab on this. Hopefully there'll be more insightful news articles as this gets underway. And like I said, this is the 9th year they've been doing this. I'm assuming, because like KCG said, it could be just a matter of the ground has to be easier to work with. I'm sure they're not putting it off till the end of the summer for any other beneficial reason. So the Carlisle Barracks Post Cemetery will be closed to visitors August 14th when the site setup begins. Until the completion of the scheduled discernments, tentatively scheduled for October 12th, out of respect for the families and tribes and consistent with the Army cemetery protocol, the entire cemetery area will be closed with privacy fencing. Access to the cemetery will be restricted to the OAC staff along with the tribal members and their families, which is great. Not everybody's going to be tromping around there. And that's pretty much it for that story. But I found it very interesting. Bear with me. Let me see if I can find a video. I looked already. I couldn't find anything. But now that I have these acronyms for this organization, that could be helpful. Bear with me for 1 second. Oops. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, and we learned a word together. Those of you that know more about funerals or cemeteries, I've never heard disinterred. I've heard exhumed. It says here, the terms are often used interchangeably. Many morticians and legal professors note slight distinction. Disinterment typically refers to a family choosing to remove a loved one's remains, usually to move them closer to family or to switch to cremation. Whereas exhuming refers to the court-ordered removal of a body. So it's the same physical action. One is like more of a legal term, and then one is more of a personal term. So bear with me. Let me see if I can find a video where someone speaks of this. Like I said, this has been going on for 9 years, so hopefully there's a more recent video that'll give us some idea. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, this is tough. There are some articles, but it looks like the most recent one is wait, here's one from 3 days ago. It's only 1 minute long though. Here, let's have a look. Come on. When the stuff starts to autoplay, I lose my mind. Let's see, replays, bing bong. And this is from 3 days ago. Everybody can see Rod now. Way to go, dude. It's been an ongoing problem that we couldn't see Rod in chat. And he back. Get this up to size here. And bear with my sluggishness this morning. It was tough waking up. It's all nice and cool out. Woke up with a cat on my head.
Well, 12 more students will be disinterred from the grounds of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School this fall. The Office of Army Cemetery says it is working to bring healing and closure to 5 Native American tribes and 4 Alaska Native families whose children died after being sent to the school and were buried there more than 100 years ago. This interment is set to begin on September 1st. So the descendants who will be disinterred are Alaska Native Mabel Stock, Edward Angeluk, Lucy Spalding, and Tommy Cook, Peter Howe, Richard Morgan, and Christine Redstone from the Fort Peck tribes, Francis Bones from the Kamahachi Nation, Fanny Gibson from the absentee Shawnee tribe, Della Kennis from the
I'm not going to lie. I love the last name Bones. That's such a cool last name.
Shoshone Powhatan tribes, and Susie Davis from the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, and Margaret Davis from the Kenau Bay Indian community.
Oh, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. I'm not trying to play another.
Hello and welcome to the Tom.
No. We like Tom, but not right now, man. Hang on. Good morning, Marie. Good to see you. All right, let's see here. I'm looking for... Give me 1 second here. There's got to be a video that's longer than just a minute there. All right. So Tom Green had Tony Hawk on it. Matt. That's got nothing to do with what we're up to. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to look at an older video. This is from a year ago, but the same project, the same location. Let's just have a look and see if they give us any more information here. And I understand this isn't necessarily breaking news, but I also think it's very important. These types of situations going forward, reparations need to be made to our Native American brothers and sisters. We're all too busy to care, it seems, but I know many of you do.
11 Native American children buried more than 100 years ago in Carlisle will soon be returned to their closest living relatives.
It's the largest disinterment project to date at the Carlisle Main Post Cemetery. Fox 43's Matt Kleindens was in Carlisle and spoke with directors of the project about returning the children home.
Sending former students of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School home.
Every child were able to return to their tribe and their families and return home to their native lands is rewarding.
The Office of Army Cemeteries is undergoing its 7th disinterment project at the Carlisle Barracks Cemetery, where the Carlisle Indian Industrial School used to stand. Army Cemeteries Director Renee Yates says it will be the largest disinterment project they've done so far, returning 11 children to 6 tribes across the country.
We are engaged in this process all year long. We take an opportunity to reach out to every federally recognized tribe that has a child interred here at the cemetery. We work with them throughout the year, and those that are ready to have their children returned.
The 11 children being returned died while attending the Carlisle Indian School between 1880 and 1910. And their ages range from 12 to 26 years old.
This is both a time of reflection and mourning for the children that were stolen from their families in an effort to assimilate them.
Tasha Mousseau is the vice president of the Wichita and affiliated tribes and will be in Carlisle to bring 2 children home. She says the disinterment will help connect their ancestors back to their tribe and their land.
The blood of our ancestors is in this dirt, this red dirt in Oklahoma. And so to have our children reconnect in that way is profound for our people.
John St. Clair with the Eastern Shoshone Tribe adds that the project acts as an answered prayer for people wanting to see the children of the Carlisle Indian School come back.
We're ready to do what's necessary to have their bodies returned here and placed where they should have been all these years.
The disinterment project will end by October 14th. Matt Kleindens, Fox 43 News.
So there you have that. So allow me to just lighten the mood up a little bit, and I'm just going to throw in a fun story here because it's been very heavy so far this morning, and I don't want to be a complete Debbie Downer. Unfortunately, sometimes the news is that way. So bear with me as we're gonna have a palate cleanser here. Let me just quickly as I can, get it up here. Let's see. Boom, bap. Here it is here. Okay. So this is completely off topic of what we've been talking about. This is a wild moment that a sea lion hijacks a canoe race. Pretty incredible. This would be my luck. I had a close encounter with a whale in Santa Barbara whilst paddle boarding. That didn't knock me over, but it was right under me. And that's let me tell you what that feels like. Terrifying. Although exciting too, I don't know. It was terrifying. Okay, check it out. I'll do some reading here for those of you that are just listening. It says, wild moment, sea lion hijacks a canoe during race. Obviously, they're paddling along there. Looks like an outrigger team of 4 in this canoe. Up ahead of them, you just saw what looked like the Loch Ness Monster's head in front of them. There's the sea lion. Okay, KCG, the sea lion just jumped right at the first person leading at the front tip of the canoe. Or kayak, what's it called? I'm not sure what these are called. It's like a row team, like an outrig canoe. That's a big old sea lion. Almost, if she was sitting in a chair, that thing would have landed in her lap. Look, okay, so now they've got a slow motion shot off the pause game. Little hunka chunka dunk. Look at that guy. That sea lion looks like he just had second lunch. And then he kind of sits his butt up on the front and then jumps back into the water. A big sucker. He's just as big as the lady that was in the front of the canoe there. And then now it seems they're just going to loop it a couple of times, but very interesting. And then at the after shot, all the ladies behind the lead lady in the canoe, they were all smiling and cracking up. I'm almost certain that they, people that do this type of sport, they probably encounter this type of thing often, but it's not always caught on film. So this is also practice and discipline in the pause game. So let's see what we got this morning. Let's check our reflective muscles. You can see ahead in this shot that he's already plodding on this canoe. You can see his little round head poking out of the water to have a look. There he is. See him? Okay, so in this shot, they're rowing right towards the guy, and he's about, I don't know, it's hard to judge scale. I would say somewhere between 8-10 feet. 5 feet, maybe. All right, the pause game is weak this morning. Let's see. And you just never know. It could be protecting their babies. It could be just in a bad mood. You just never know. Yeah, my pause game is garbage today, guys. I don't know what's up with that. I hate that. I'm gonna try one more time. It looked like the sea lion's mouth was open, but we know sea lions don't eat people. I still can't get it. Anyways, you get the idea. They're cracking up. Everyone else who's paddling is just like I said. It's not uncommon for them. It's uncommon for us to see a clip of it because how quickly that happened. Just had the camera pointing in the right direction at the right time. There it is. Oh, KCG, you should see this sucker. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable about the variations of different type of seals. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. Maybe it's in the description of the video, but he looks like he was going up for a bite of her hat, to be honest with you. His mouth's open. He puts his whole body on the tip of the canoe. Water everywhere. And then he just jumps right back out. He's like, no fish here. Have a good day, ladies. Pretty funny. And Headstone shared this story with me. It's just something to break the monotony here. So now we have to go and discuss something that I didn't really want to discuss, but we have to do it. Our country's at war with Iran. I think it's senseless. I don't want to debate it with anyone. I just think it's ridiculous. But there have been some developments overnight, so bear with me as I pull that up. Let's see. Actually, I've got something. I believe I've got something to read for you first here. If you just bear with me here. Let me get this off our screen. Please hit the thumbs up, guys, and thanks for being here. Good morning, June 1st. Let's see. Keister Bunny says, seals and sea lions are no joke. People get themselves hurt at La Jolla Shores all the time. La Jolla Shores! La Jolla. You mean San Diego? I love that place. Oh, my God. One of my favorite places in California is this little tiny town, not far from La Jolla, if I remember correctly. I was stationed in Oceanside, so I know the area quite well. As a young man, I adventured everywhere there. But there's this little, and I understand it's named after a town in, I think, Great Britain as well. Anyways, it's called Cardiff by the Sea. It's a tiny little spot on a map. Me and my buddies went down there and discovered a tattoo parlor. God, I love that part of the country. That part of the country, though, I must say, has become too rich for my blood. It costs an arm and a leg. La Jolla is interesting because it has more police per capita than any other town in the world. You live in Oceanside. Oh, how cool is that? I spent so many mornings taking the bus off of Camp Pendleton and just going down to the pier. I would essentially go down there on a Friday and not go back to base until Monday. I had so much fun meeting locals, having dates, having burritos. There's a great burrito place right near the pier, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's the kind of place you'll wait a half an hour in line for a burrito. I wish I could remember the name of it. I've just in the last couple of months tried to find it. It's possible it's not there anymore, but maybe Keister will be able to clue us in. It's like just a block and a half away from the pier, if I remember correctly. All right, let me get rid of this quickly. So now we have to talk about the fact that our country's at war. This is obviously a polarizing subject, although it should not be, in my opinion. It's still that way. So let me read this first. U.S.-Iran tensions and peace talks. The U.S. and Iran are currently navigating a fragile ceasefire while negotiating a peace agreement. Vice President J.D. Vance, douchebag, excuse me, noted that while the parties are close, listen, there's nothing close. They're just lying to us. I'll just tell you. They are not there yet, citing sticking points regarding Tehran's enriched uranium stockpile. Tensions remain high, with reports of U.S. strikes on Iranian military sites. See, the thing is, they're talking about peace talks and a ceasefire while we bomb the fucking shit out of them. Excuse my language. It makes no sense at all. Also, just as expected, they're already giving projections of rehabilitation and rebuilding of the things that we're bombing. And guess who's going to get the contracts to do that? You guessed it, U.S. contractors. It's criminal. People are going to stand to make billions of dollars off of us bombing someone. Also, fun fact about how many missiles and bombs we've dropped upon Iran. We've depleted about 2/3 of our entire stockpile, which means if there's an actual war that we need to take part in tomorrow, we don't have enough bombs. So how fun is that? Thanks, Trump. Anyways, let's see. Tensions remain high with reports. Okay, I read that part. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, also known as the Devil, announced orders for the Israeli military to seize control of 70% of the Gaza Strip. This is called genocide, a move that threatens the current ceasefire. Concurrently, the Israeli military has intensified its offensive against Hezbollah, launching heavy airstrikes across southern Lebanon. Hey guys, Lebanon is a whole other country. For some reason, Israel is also bombing them. Fun fact: Lebanon is about 50% Christian too. So for all of you out there that are really against the typical Disney dark-skinned villains, well, these aren't them. These are Christians, just like many of you are. There's so much history and so much. I'm just going to read the headlines because I don't think it's going to benefit any of us to sit here and debate any of this. These are just the facts. Of course, I'm interjecting some of my opinions as well. Concurrently, let's see, already read that. Let's see. Heavy airstrikes across southern Lebanon and issuing evacuation orders for areas south of the Zahrani River. I do apologize. I'm not sure where that is. And we also have an Ebola breakout. So first we want to look at what's happening in Iran. It's, mainstream media, it's almost impossible to get any true information. They're selling us a narrative. We still don't know why we're there. It's not because of uranium. It's not for oil. In my humble opinion, it's a distraction. And it's dissuading people from continuing to discuss the fact that the current administration and many of the characters that have been appointed to positions in the current administration are a bunch of fucking pedophiles that went to Epstein's Island. Essentially, if we bomb another country, then we stop talking about what these criminals have done in the past. That's beyond an opinion. There's nothing more true. But that's my opinion. So what can we do? And if you want more about what's happening in Iran, Agenda Free TV with Steve Lookner, he just started a live stream about an hour ago. He typically goes on a marathon. So for all of the details, I would he's far more professional at this. So check him out. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I got a video for us. I tell you what, trying to find a reason. So obviously I'm not going to go to Fox News because they're simping for a terrible president. Can't go to CNN because they put disinformation out to attack our pedo president. So it's almost impossible. So I'll do my best, the best I can, with trying to avoid, because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of AI, what looks like bombings that are not even real. Someone's making AI buildings blowing up for media. It's as bad as you can imagine. I did watch a very interesting interview from Shane Smith from Vice News. He interviewed some officials from what's left of the Iranian establishment, the government. Dang it, man. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this one. This is the BBC. I don't know if you guys have confidence in the BBC. To me, I feel like it's just like the British CNN, but what do I know? We'll have a look and see what they say. I did study some war strategy while serving in the Marines, and I tell you what, if you're trying to barter a peace deal, I'm pretty certain that bombing somebody is not the way to do it. So, but let's just have a look here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say for fact, if you want peace with someone, bombing them isn't the right thing to do. I'll just say that. I think we can all agree.
Hello, welcome. I'm Kasia Madeira. This is the Iran War Today, our daily briefing, bringing you up to date with.
And it said day 91. This was from 2 days ago, but they have a lot of footage in here, so let's have a look. So today would be day 93 or 94.
All you need to know on day 91.
Remember, our bitch-ass president told us that this would be resolved in a week. And here we are 90 days in. Billions and billions and billions of dollars have been spent on just murdering people. So there's that. How fun. Guess who paid for those beautiful, efficient, destructive munitions? You did. I did. Did anybody say, hey guys, this is what I'm going to do with your money. We're going to slaughter a bunch of people for no reason. Nobody asked me. I think they're probably a better use for our tax money. Wouldn't you think? Sorry for the noise. I live on the wrong side of the tracks.
Of the US-Israel war with Iran. So let's start with some of today's key developments. Donald Trump says he's lifted the US blockade on Iranian ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Writing on social media, he said that he's convening a meeting in the Situation Room to make a final decision on a deal with Iran. Well, this comes after Iran's top negotiator said that he has no trust in words or guarantees from the US, with reports suggesting Iran seeking $12 billion from frozen assets as part of an initial agreement with the US. Israeli and Lebanese representatives meet in DC after a week of heavy Israeli strikes. We'll have analysis of those attacks from BBC Very.
Sorry for the noise, guys. I get my windows open. It's nice outside this morning. Like I said, I have lost almost all confidence in the footage that we're seeing in the way of these explosions and bombings. It just, I don't know who in their right mind would just be cranking out AI videos, but there's so much. It's such a fucking problem. And you know, we discuss AI all the time. It's undoubtedly going to become more difficult to distinguish what is real and what isn't real. You know, if you're not sitting in front of me, we're not talking in person, how do I even know it's real? That's what it is nowadays. But I do want to say this, because people are getting a bit paranoid about, there's someone can make a video of me saying something that I didn't say. Currently, and since the beginning of these AI image generators, there is metadata attached to these images that isn't easily found. But if you're savvy, or just like do your research, there are ways to distinguish as to whether or not these are real or not. BBC is just as propaganda filled as the rest of the media. It's hard to take any of the like I said, so many of you know that there's just a complete media blackout in Iran. So we're only getting one side, and it's almost never the truth. So take all of this with a whole bag of salt. But there are some factual things to glean from this.
Verify.
And by the way, I totally agree with you. I try to preface that, like, BBC is in a lot of ways, and maybe someone will get mad at me for saying this, but it's just as bad as CNN. CNN used to be great, and then I don't know what happened. We need to work on making the media great again.
Be live in New York as oil prices fall on the positive sound that a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could be close. So we start with renewed hopes that an agreement.
No question in my mind. If you're just listening to KCG, there's an image of what looks like, and this is not real. This looks like a stencil of an outstretched, or two shaking hands. One is Iran's and one is the United States. This is a ridiculous fucking image graphic, if you ask me, but whatever. I don't work at BBC.
could soon be agreed between the US and Iran to extend the ceasefire and allow negotiations to begin. Donald Trump posted optimistically on Truth Social in the last few hours, writing that he's currently meeting in the White House situation.
So I think the whole world needs to just agree all at one time that this Truth Social website that this orange man produced, it's not a social media platform. It's not. It's a blog for a madman. In the last couple of days, this man has been posting AI images with his face on Mount Rushmore. He's posting like apocalyptic scenes with him next to another man on a horse. It's him on a horse, and next to him is George Washington on a horse. Oh, that's something else too. The Kennedy Center, a judge has ruled that Drumpy can't put his name on the Kennedy Center. I mean, how insulting would that be? Actually, he did already. Now they're taking it down, and he's having to come apart. Also, after this, we're going to talk about we're not going to watch this whole video. I just want to give you some. I want to give you some rough outline of what the official narrative is. But the UFC fight, aka Drumpy's birthday party, is collapsing. My man, Bret Michaels, finally backed out. He's a Pittsburgher. He's a hometown boy. There was a lot of pressure on him from us locals to not take part in this, and he did it with grace. He didn't get mixed up in the politics. He just said he's concerned about the safety. So now we'll get to that. But now they're left with Vanilla Ice, Milli Vanilli, which one of them are passed away. So I don't know if it's Millie or Nilly, just one of them. You got CNC Music Factory, who only has one sole survivor of the group. So that's just one. It's just C. I don't know if it's C or C, but it's just C. It's a disaster. It's embarrassing, and the American citizens need to stand up and start getting to work, man. We need to get our head off of social media where we just sit around talking crap on each other, and it's time to stand up and be citizens. I don't even know what that looks like exactly, but I know that it doesn't include wearing one of these dumb red hats that are on this desk right here.
Room to make, as he put it, a final decision. So let's just run through a few of the key. His post. He says Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately open.
Well, hey, listen. It's America's 250th birthday. It should be inclusive of all people. Well, yes. Also, June, what is it? June 13th or June 14th? It's not the nation's anniversary. It's not. That's the 4th of July. This is this small dick, small brained orange man bad guy's birthday party. That's what it is. It's his birthday party. And we'll get to that. It's so insulting. I can't even tell you. I physically get angry because how much money is being spent on this to put guys in a cage in one of the most intense high security situations you can have. You're going to put men in a cage. So where are they going to go if something happens? This seems like a catastrophe waiting to happen. I pray that it doesn't, because the last thing in the world that I want is for this man to be made a martyr. I don't want to hear this man's name for the rest of my life. I want to get through this administration and this disaster and move on to better things. Hopefully that actually happens. Conversely, and I think comedically, Don Lemon has been talking about running for president, which, I mean, why not, right? What could be worse? But I find it interesting. The concert is canceled completely. Yes, we're going to get to that. Oh, have they canceled it completely? When did they do that? KCG, you should go live and bring us news stories. Last I heard, as of about 5:10 this morning, that they were just talking about people dropping out. So if you have a link, email me. I'll look for it though.
With no tolls. Then he announces that the US blockade of Iranian ships in the Strait of Hormuz will be lifted, writing that ships may start the process of heading home. He also writes that Iran's enriched nuclear material buried underground as a result of US strikes on nuclear facilities last year will be unearthed by the US. So let's begin. We have BBC Persian's Siavesh Ardalan, who is here in London, and we're also joined by White House reporter Bernd Debusman, who joins us from Washington. to Bernd in just a moment, but we're going to start with Siavash, who is monitoring any Iranian response. They've been rebuffing some of those points. Just talk us through it.
I think the main issue with President Trump's tweet.
In many ways, what's happening is, our administration and our officials are putting out explanations and giving updates on the peace talks. Iran saying, wait a minute, that's not what the fuck we're talking about. And what a position it puts American citizens in the world in, where it's almost easier to trust the word of the Iranian officials. That shouldn't be. We should be able to trust our government. We should be able to get the facts, especially considering this is something that we didn't ask for. This is an illegal war. We never voted to do this. Nobody asked any of us if that's what we want to do with our tax money, is to brutalize, a nation of people halfway around the world that is and never was any direct threat to us at all. They sure are now, though. Ironically enough, they sure are now, though.
Any dispute or issues that Iran could take with it is the sequencing. And this memorandum of understanding, as we know it, there seems to be one action done, and then in reciprocation, the other side will take another step. What President Trump seems to suggest, and the way he's framed it, is that Iran will open the Strait of Hormuz, then the U.S. will lift the blockade, whereas the tweet that a few hours before that the head of Iran's negotiating team posted said that we will not take any action unless the U.S. takes the first step. So there's this issue of sequencing here. And then Trump's reference to the nuclear program, saying that Iran has agreed, according to him, for the U.S. to go inside Iran and unearth the enriched uranium with the help of China.
There's so much misinformation just packed into this little thing. Many of my fellow Americans aren't aware of the fact that we built those nuclear reactors in Iran. That was America that built those. The Navy ships that we bombed, we gave them those ships. Their weapons, our weapons. Much like we saw in Afghanistan, we trained the people that we're fighting against, essentially. And let there be no mistake, the Iranian government is brutal to their people. It's unacceptable. But adding insult and injury to injury is what the United States is doing here. Let there be no question. I mean, you could disagree with me, or you can go do the research yourself and find out.
And under the supervision of IAEA, to take it out of the country and be destroyed. I find it very unlikely that Iranians would have agreed to that. And I think that might be something we should expect from the Iranians to respond to, because in any case, these talks.
This story is just a crock. I'm just gonna go to a much shorter, brief version of what's happening right now. I don't have any tolerance for just running a narrative the way this announcer is here, this media outlet. But this is the same media outlet, but it shows more directly of the fresh strikes that have been happening overnight and this morning. Sorry about that. I thought we would get something from that, and it seems like it's just the same bullshit.
Hello, welcome. I'm Catherine Biarahanga. Both the United States and Iran are claiming to have launched strikes on targets over the weekend near the Strait of Hormuz, straining the already fragile ceasefire. The U.S. military says it conducted what it called self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and command and control.
Listen, it's not self-defense strikes. Hold on. Allow me just to rewind for a second. Did she say a fragile ceasefire? Listen, man, if you're actively bombing the shit out of buildings, there is no ceasefire. How can these media outlets do this, dude? It makes no sense to me. This fragile ceasefire? What the fuck ceasefire? Israel's bombing Lebanon. They're going to take over 70% of Palestine. None of this makes sense, dude. None of it. Ceasefire. Right. Sure.
Sites for drones. In a statement, U.S. Central Command said the strikes took place on Saturday and Sunday on Qasem Island and the small city of Goruk. The statement said the strikes were measured and deliberate in response to aggressive Iranian actions, including the shooting down of a US drone operating over international waters. The statement goes on to say US fighter aircraft swiftly responded by eliminating Iranian air defenses, a ground control station, and 2 one-way attack drones that pose clear threats to ships transiting regional waters.
Remember, take all of this with a grain of salt because we have no actual on-the-ground journalism occurring. None. It's a complete blackout state for Iran media. It's been that way for 10 years. They murder journalists or worse. Believe me, there are things worse than being murdered. Good morning, Pookie. Good morning, Ramona White. I know this stuff is kind of heavy. I'm already getting emails telling me to go F myself. I'm not sure if I'm that flexible, but thanks for the suggestion.
It ends by saying no American service members were harmed. Meanwhile, the diplomatic push for a deal between the US and Iran continues, but it's unclear if any progress has been made. US media has reported that President...
Yeah, I hate that. It's unclear if progress has been made. Well, progress hasn't been made as Israel is bombing the shit out of Lebanon and we are bombing the shit out of Iran. They keep using words like fragile ceasefire, dude. It's infuriating. And just to give you an idea, the Department of Defense testified before Congress in late April that the conflict had cost $29 billion so far. And that was, it's June. So let's see. Estimates, internal independent estimates, U.S. officials and independent analysts suggest that the actual price tag is much higher, ranging from $40 billion to $72 billion. Critics point out the Pentagon's initial figures do not fully account for the rebuilding of damaged U.S. installations or replacing destroyed assets and munitions. Like I said, we've damn near depleted all of our stockpile of bombs. That's terrifying. So if something happens, we're going to be in a pickle, as if we're not already. As you know, 13 service members have already lost their lives in this war. It's not a police action. It's not a conflict. It's a war. If you're bombing a country, I don't care what anyone says, and it's illegal war as far as I can tell. Essentially, Israel is trying to take over the world to fulfill some kind of biblical prophecy, and our asshole president is his bitch. That's basically what it is, or their bitch. I have nothing but love and respect for Jewish people. The Israeli government, not so much love. I'll tell you that. Also, there are many people, and this is the lead that always gets buried. There are plenty of Jewish people in Israel that want nothing to do with this. They do not want their government to continue to do this. And much like our government doesn't listen to us, their government doesn't listen to them either. So we have to separate this. We have to separate the people from the government. They are distinguishable.
Trump requested edits to the proposed agreement. The BBC's US news partner CBS is reporting that the changes are related to the Strait of Hormuz and the removal of highly enriched uranium. Iran's foreign minister confirmed the talks were ongoing.
Talks and message exchanges are ongoing, and until there's a clear outcome, they can't be judged. All current speculation and conjecture, in my view, should be disregarded until matters become definitive.
I have just a little bit more on the cost of this ongoing war. The U.S. has lost 24 MQ-9 Reaper drones. We've seen the Iranian state release images and video clips of these down Reaper drones. No big deal. You think, oh, we lost some drones. Yeah, each one of them cost $30 million. Wrap your head around that. There's a pending request from the administration is preparing to ask Congress for up to $200 billion in additional supplemental funding to sustain operations, maintain troop deployments, and replenish depleted munition stockpiles. Sure. So 70 billion is not enough. Hey, we need 200 more billion. I hate to break it to you guys, but we can't afford that. I mean, the bridges in this country are rusting and collapsing. There's potholes in every major city. People are veterans on the street starving to death. Mental health the mental health epidemic is running rampant in every town and village in this country. And we've got $200 billion to bomb schoolhouses in Iran. Why is there not the biggest anti-war protest that's ever occurred in this country occurring right now? Well, I can explain it to you. We're not doing what we have to do. That's why.
Now, meanwhile, in the past hour, the Israeli Prime Minister has ordered the IDF to carry out fresh strikes on the southern suburbs of Beirut. In a statement, Benjamin Netanyahu said this was due to what he called...
I have to say also, I'm sorry. I know I have viewers all over the world. So when I say I'm specifically speaking of the United States. So let me I mess that up all the time. I should distinguish, but most of you get it. What's up, Coco Pop? Good to see you. Good morning. What's up, Joe? Did I miss anybody? Troopers, good to see you. Troopers said, good morning, good morning, Lemon Grove. I'm prepped and headed to surgery to remove a cyst from my upper arm. Wear your sunscreen, folks. It's no joke. I'll check in this evening. Okay, #winning. Yeah, let us know, Troopers. And, as always, email me if you need anything from me.
Repeated violations of the ceasefire by Hezbollah. Earlier, France, Germany and the UK all criticised Israel's push further into southern Lebanon as it escalates its campaign against Hezbollah. The United Nations Security Council is due to hold a meeting on the issue later today. Well, let's get the very latest from our correspondents in Jerusalem and in Beirut. We'll start.
As always, this is, big media, big bullshit. So take everything that's here with a bag of salt.
Start with Yolande Nell, who's in Jerusalem for us. So Yolande, it looks like there was some military action over the weekend, and now this statement from Israel about carrying out more strikes in Beirut.
Yes, so if we look first of all at what's been happening in the Gulf, this is another strain on the 2-month ceasefire between the US and Israel and Iran, with the US saying that it hit these Iranian targets in and...
Why? Can anyone explain to me how they get away with continuously saying this strained ceasefire? It's not a ceasefire. I don't understand. I don't understand how they can get away with this. I mean, people that are less, perceptive or people that more passively watch these media outlets, they think there's been a ceasefire. There hasn't been. I don't know how they get away with just bold-faced lying to us. This strained ceasefire. Yeah, strained. That's an interesting word to use.
Next to the Strait of Hormuz, and saying that this was Iranian air defenses, a ground control station, and also 2 Iranian drones that have been threatening commercial shipping. The language that we've got from the US is very similar to that we heard last week when it talked about similar exchanges of fire that went on, referring to these as being in self-defense, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard saying that it then struck a US airbase from which these attacks had been launched, and you've got Kuwait, where a major US airbase is located, saying that sirens sounded across the country, that they intercepted missiles and drones. There's also from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard this statement where it says if the aggression's repeated, the response will be completely different in the scale and nature, and the responsibility for that will be with the US. And it just reminds us how fragile this ceasefire looks, how quickly there could be a more sort of serious escalation that could really threaten those ongoing efforts to secure a ceasefire. Now, on top of all of that, we've had this morning the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu putting out this very short statement saying that he and the Defense Minister have now given the go-ahead for strikes in the Dahia area.
I have to tell you something about Benjamin Netanyahu, and this is going to be maybe controversial to some people. He's not a Jewish person. Isn't it funny? He's the guy that's the prime minister and the spokesperson, but he's non-secular. While everyone else who practices the Jewish faith is honoring and observing very specific, dates and specific, rituals, if you will. Well, Netanyahu's on a fucking private jet headed to Paris, smoking a cigar and sipping on cognac. So, if anything, he would be like a secular Jewish person. He doesn't represent his Jewish people. He represents a terrible, tyrannical government that's trying to fulfill a biblical prophecy. That's what's happening. And that's, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. This kind of stuff makes me angry, but we do have to talk about this because while there is a war, the U.S. is actively engaged in a war. It seems like we don't care. I care, but I mean, as a whole, is this kind? We're more interested in, whatever kind of sporting events that are going on. It's insane. Directly following this, we're gonna have the updates. I did find the stuff that KCG was talking about. So yes, good. Looks like his birthday party may have been canceled. That's great news.
Of southern Beirut, seen as being a Hezbollah stronghold. It's understood from the Israeli media that in the past couple of days, the Prime Minister, he's met twice with his own cabinet, talking about ways to approach the situation in Lebanon. And there has really been this push to pivot from just having ground operations, seizing more territory in Lebanon, to targeting Beirut once again. There was one targeted airstrike there last week. That's what the Israeli military called it, and that's the second time that had happened since the ceasefire came into effect between Israel and Lebanon. So now, really, this expectation that things will accelerate there, and it's really understood this comes with a green light from the US after the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio was speaking to both the Lebanese president and the Prime Minister. The suggestion really being that he was proposing a ceasefire where Hezbollah would stop fire first, but the Lebanese didn't see that was something that they could push through.
And briefly, Yolande, both the US and Iran saying that talks are continuing, that they are negotiating. So that's a good sign, but we still have no clear idea about when this could be concluded.
Indeed, and all of these things that are happening now do complicate efforts, because there is a new statement from the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson where he's talking about how, reiterating really how a ceasefire with Lebanon is integral to any kind of deal. It has to be a regional ceasefire, not just between the US and Israel and Iran. He talked about the lack of trust there is at the moment between the two parties at this moment, where we understand that the US...
I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't. It's just lip service, dude. It's just lip service. Okay, so let me show something with just a much shorter video here. I think this is it here. Yes. Let's just get to the point. There is no ceasefire. We're actively bombing a country with your money and my money too.
The United States has targeted new sites in Iran, and meanwhile, Tehran has attacked Kuwait. This is just the latest in back and forth violence that's threatening the ceasefire in the Iran war as negotiations between these two countries continue but remain challenged by these ongoing hostilities. The Americans say they targeted drone launch sites as well as radar facilities in Iran after Iran shot down an American drone over the weekend and did other hostile acts. Now, Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard said that it launched an attack in retaliation that appears to have been a ballistic missile launch targeting Kuwait. People in Kuwait woke up to the sound of missile alert sirens today. It's not clear if there was any damage there, but Kuwait has been targeted repeatedly in the Iran war and in the weeks after. All this is coming as negotiations.
As you know, the U.S. has several vital military operations bases in and around Kuwait. So what? Not only are we wasting all of our money bombing people, but we're also putting young men and women's lives in harm's way.
Between Iran and the United States appear at a stalemate.
U.S. President Donald Trump went online today and said that things would work out, but we've also heard from Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson who insists that these talks are continuing in a level of mistrust, just showing the gaps between them over issues like sanctions relief, Iran's nuclear program, and the future of the Israel-Hezbollah war that is grinding on today and threatening to drag the Middle East back again into a wider war.
I mean, I think it's an. Whoops, I didn't mean to oh no, I'm not showing Lookner. Oh, don't. Stop. All right. No. We're not gonna screen snipe Steve Lookner today. I have too much. There is no Sputher. Good morning. There is no ceasefire. This is so insulting to anybody with half a brain, and most of us got a whole brain, so we should see right through this. Benjamin Netanyahu. Fun fact: he's up for trial for war crimes, for the atrocities that he's committed in undergoing a genocide against the Palestinian people. The one way he's avoiding actually being held accountable for that, avoiding that trial from actually taking place, well, just keep the war. If the war's going, then there's war power acts conveniently made by him that are enacted when it's wartime. Such litigation in such legal matters are handled afterwards. So long as he's bombing Beirut and continuing the genocide in Palestine, then he won't be held accountable. He will be found guilty when he actually is. It's insane that the United States has become the subservient bitch to Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm not sure if many of you understand exactly how terrifying that is, but it is. Okay, so let's keep it moving. I mean, that I can't listen to them anymore. It's too ridiculous. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. As always, be mindful that we are at war. I mean, traditionally during wartime, we don't have big celebrations. I mean, even such an event as the 250th anniversary of the founding of this great country, even historically, we don't celebrate that. Not while we're at war, because traditionally we pinch our pennies, and we're mindful of having to sacrifice. We're doing none of that. We're just consuming, and just pretending it's not happening. I promise you this: if a foreign government flew over a major city in our country and bombed this building that's full of children trying to learn school, I would be willing to bet that it would motivate Americans to seek revenge. So where we weren't in danger or under direct threat from Iran to begin with, we sure as fuck are now. So none of this is making anything better. It's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of money. And it's all predicated on a president with a small dick and no brains. They're simply trying to distract us from the elephant in the room, which is the fact that about half of our government officials are perverts and pedos. I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory. It's not. It's even worse than that. So we're going to shift. We're going to talk about this pathetic man's birthday party. From what I understand, it's been canceled. Just a couple hours ago, I was reading reports about people canceling. So he was left with one, Milli or Vanilli, I'm not sure. The other one's dead. Also, hey man, how perfect to have Milli Vanilli perform at the president's birthday. They're a bunch of fake ass you guys get it. A bunch of fake mofos. And let's see. I'm getting some word about some drama stuff that I'm going to update you guys. I'm not going to mix that in with this. That'll be 5:00 this afternoon. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of fuckery between now and then. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Let me just try to find a decent source for the birthday cancellation. The birthday. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Even Joe Rogan, man. And I know some of you feel a certain way about Joe Rogan. I respect his access to people that, that long form interview, 3 hours. I find great benefit in that. And his access to people that we would never get to hear speak is awesome. The downside is he played a hand in getting this jerk off elected by lending him credibility by putting him on the show. Give me one sec. Where is it at? Where is? I was hoping KCG would send me a link because she knew about this before me, and I've been trying to keep up on it. Let's see. Let me do it this way. I know there's this one dude. He talks about everything, and he's got good videos. Let's see. Videos. Oh, also, Donald Trump's son was just married. Guess what? He didn't go to his son's wedding. Go figure. He doesn't love his family. It's so crazy. Also, fun fact, the woman that his son married is the daughter of one of Epstein's right-hand men. So they're just all marrying into the Epstein class of people. You should be just as disturbed as I am. Let's see. I don't see that it was canceled completely yet, although, could be. Here, let me just do a generic search here. This in particular was tricky for me because I'm a fan of the UFC. Yarvo Bjornsson, welcome back. I'm gonna pause for the train, guys. Choo choo. Loud as shit this morning. Bear with the noise. Let's see here. UFC White House. And the plan was 4,000 spectators on the back lawn, an octagonal cage match. Let's see. Oh, Midas Touch. Oh, you said, I think, KCG, you didn't send the link. You just said Midas Touch. Okay, I'm going to play that. Actually, I do see it. I'm just a little bit worried about playing it for copyright reasons. It's fair use. We could do this. All right. I'll just have to be sure to pause because this video is just posted 20 hours ago. It's already got 2.1 million. These are the guys that will strike your channel and make you go away. So in the spirit of fair use, I'm not going to. Also, when you see people plastering their live streams with the Fair Act use or the Fair Use Act of 1976, the disclaimer, it's a waste of their graphics, dude. All of that's implied whenever you agree to the terms of services of YouTube. So so long as you are using it in the spirit of fair use, there's no need to put up that advertisement that you're doing so. I think some people they think it gives them some type of, it makes them look more pro or something. It's a waste of fucking time, dude. It just is. You don't, if you, and also, so, dear YouTubers, if you're saying something and it's obvious your perspective, then you don't have to finish that sentence with, in my opinion, because it's not possible for you to give anyone else's opinion. UFC is great entertainment. Well, here's another thing too. Not only was I just annoyed with the idea of putting people in harm's way, but also these are title fights. Like if you care about sport, like these are title fights. You're asking these guys to fucking fight in an environment that's foreign to what they've trained in. These fights should be happening indoors with a controlled environment, not under fucking spotlights with 100-degree weather in mid-June. It just doesn't make any sense. It puts people at disadvantage. Many of these athletes cut weight or shed weight to make the weight requirements for their fights. This oftentimes leaves them dehydrated. These fights, you don't want to be in a sweltering wrestling somebody. You got somebody in a fucking rear naked chokehold, and there's mosquitoes fucking buzzing your ear. It's ridiculous. It would make a mockery of the sport, and it would be like aristocrats, like just like the Colosseum. Like it's so bad. We've learned these lessons in the past. I'm sorry if I didn't say hello to everyone. Let's see. Trump's kids know exactly what he is. Yeah, and they are that too. That's the problem. But not Barron. It seems like Melania is protecting him. She's his favorite. All right, guys. So I'm not too familiar with this news source. They go as Midas Touch. So we'll pause, give commentary, but let's see what they're talking about, huh? And when was this? When was this posted? This was posted 20 hours ago. Huh. Google's failing me. I have updates to update me, and they just let me down. Let's see.
Trump's so-called UFC event at the White House on June 14th is becoming an utter disaster. You have top UFC fighters calling out the event. You have Joe Rogan, who hosts UFC events, calling out the event. Also, Donald Trump promised.
To be fair, Joe Rogan's been calling it out from the beginning. And he's good friends with Dana White, the man who owns the UFC. He was just like, I hate it. He hates it. That's what he said. I hate it. He's like, I'm debating whether I should even go, because remember, he's an announcer for UFC fighting. He was just like, it's a safety concern. You're going to put men in a cage, and then what if something happens? You just have people stuck in a cage. They can't even. I mean, it's. We hope and pray that there are no longer any political violent acts that take part in this country. But with the rhetoric and the environment recently, don't be surprised if something does happen. My prayers go like this: please do not let this man become a martyr in the way of Trump. I don't want to hear his name for the rest of my life. I know I'm repeating myself, but I've already heard his name enough.
There would be 100,000 fans in attendance at this massive stadium they were going to build. Instead, they're building this like small, grotesque structure in the White House where.
Well, I mean, that small, grotesque structure is the octagon that he's speaking of. That's traditionally the ring for the UFC. So I can already tell that this guy he's pretty biased. So, but aren't they all? I am too. But you don't have to describe the fighting ring as a small, grotesque. We see where this guy's going.
They're now recruiting 4,000 service members to become spectators, since nobody actually wants to be there. So they want to use.
Yeah. See, just as I believed. Actually, you know what? Let me just make sure. I was going to say this man is speaking as though the event is continuing. Before I started my live stream, I was to the understanding that it was still happening. KCG said that it's not. So let me just go to this man's page really quick, and we'll see if there's a newer video here. There may be, because that was 20 hours ago. Furious World Leaders, Unleash Plan. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'm not using this guy's stuff. I'm just not going to do it. Sorry, bear with me. It's all. This is the problem, man, with information. It's just like, listen, I hate the guy too, but if every single one of your thumbnails is just Trump, I know what you're doing. So bear with me. Last minute drama. Let's see. Sorry. KCG, if there's another video that actually points to this event being canceled, please let me know. I'll pull it up right away. Oh, 1 day ago. Let's see, the French are talking about it. Let's see. I don't know what Newsmax is. I'm so afraid of using some like crazy fucking Russian misinformation YouTube page. Like this is called Newsmax, Wake Up America Weekend. I don't trust them. Okay, let's check out this guy. Oh, it's 2 months ago. That's not going to do. White House canceled. Let's see. Crux, I'm not familiar with them. Oh, that's CNN. I want to avoid them because they're full of shit. All right, let's look at News Nation. And then I'm gonna once I'm going to let this play, and then I'm going to look and see if I can find up to the minute information. But shout out to Bret Michaels. Whether this event was canceled or not, my hometown dude did the right thing. He was like, nah, man, I'm not going to be there. Although Vanilla Ice is all about it, dude. And I listened to his interview. And he made a good point. He was just like, hey, man, I get paid to perform. The concert is canceled, but the fight is still happening. Oh, okay. Thanks, KCG. I see. I'm not going to say I disagreed with that guy. I didn't like how pointed it was. What I'm trying to do is just present the facts, and using mainstream media to do so is fucking impossible. And just random YouTubers that are incredibly biased, that is to say, every single one of their thumbnails has Trump with his mouth open and shocked and sweaty looking. I think that's just fodder as well. So, this is News Nation Morning in America. Let's have a look.
New this morning, President Donald Trump says he will headline the Great American State Fair for our nation's 250th anniversary.
Oh, he's going to headline it. I gotcha. I mean, why? I mean, that's what we all wanted to begin with. We want to hear. Is he gonna fucking sing?
The commander-in-chief will take center stage after several musical guests backed out of the event. In a Truth Social post, Trump said in part, quote, I understand artists are getting the...
Truth Social is not a social media platform, by the way. It's a blog. It's nothing more than a blog.
yips having to do with their performance. We do know Vanilla Ice is definitely performing. Now, the event is scheduled to run from June 25th through July 10th in Washington.
And I mean, how much money? Let's see if Gemini knows. Let's see how much money. What's his name? Robbie Van Winkle or whatever Vanilla Ice's real name is. How much is Vanilla Ice getting paid for the president's birthday performance? Let's see. My own curiosity here. And thanks for making that clear, KCG. I was confused. So the fight's still scheduled. None of it should happen. It's like I would like to boycott it, but also I have to watch. You know, it's just watching a fight in hopes that it's not, you know, attacked by some maniac is not really something I want to do. I don't think any of us should want to do that. Let's see if they tell us how much Rob Van Winkle is going to make here. And Gemini's lying to me. He says, there seems to be a slight misunderstanding. Vanilla Ice isn't performing for the president's birthday. He's scheduled to perform America's 250th Great American State Fair. Okay, well, here's the thing. The 250th anniversary of the founding of our country would be the 4th of July. Not mid-June. Mid-June, the specific date that this event's planned for, is Drumpy's birthday. So go fuck yourself. Google. Let's see. For his compensation, the exact amount is unknown. Hasn't been publicly disclosed. Several acts, including Bret Michaels, Martina McBride, the Commodores, Morris Day, recently dropped out from the June, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is what a lot of these musicians are saying, and it's an easy out for them. They said that they were lied to and told that this was going to be for the 250th anniversary. And now, after this jerk-off president that the United States has sitting there and, tweeting or truth socialing all night long, he's like, it's my birthday party and all this other weird shit. They're like, wait a minute. We thought this was like a patriotic, they're like, no, dude, we're not going to go celebrate your birthday with you. Like, we don't like you. Of course, I mean, just look at these people that they had booked. They're all people that need the loot, dude. They just need the bag, you know? Vanilla Ice, along with artists like Flo Rida and Fab Morvan of Milli Vanilli, have refused to drop out, but now it's, since been canceled. But interesting. The music part is canceled, and Trump says, don't worry, I'll headline it. Go figure.
And Fight Night is coming to the White House. The Ultimate Fighting Championship is bringing its best fighters for a prime.
I don't know what the hell's up with this lady's energy, man. What the heck?
Time fighting event. It's part of the country's America 250 celebrations. Preparations, well, they've been underway for weeks to turn the White House lawn into an outdoor stage for the highly anticipated combat sports spectacle that the president is expected to attend. You already see the arch behind the White House there. By the way, it's on June 14th. It's exactly 2 weeks from today. Now, the president is a close friend to the UFC chief, Dana White, and is an avid supporter and fan of combat sports, attending fighting several high-profile fights during both of his terms. Earlier this month, he welcomed some of the athletes headlining the Freedom 250 card to the White House. Listen to what a former champion had to say about the president's impact on the sport.
I'm not sure many know how big of a part you were to the UFC coming on and becoming mainstream in the early 90s when nobody would let us and nobody believed in us and they thought we were just absolute animals. And you gave us a chance to fight in your property.
Well, they're right about that.
Well, yeah.
In just a few days.
This giggle. Let me tell you what I witnessed. Okay, you guys are familiar with the White House press correspondence dinner, where there was a whole like staged event where the president's life was in danger. I don't buy any of that shit. Maybe I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I don't buy it. But what I did witness when that was going down, if you were paying attention to details, which I learned how to do when I was in the military, attention to detail was one of the best lessons I've learned while serving in the U.S. military. Dana White was in that room. Dana White is the guy that just spoke there, the owner of the UFC. Well, he is a out of touch millionaire that stood up while everyone else was on the ground. He's standing up just to soak it all in. He enjoyed that chaos. That his life was in danger. He was interviewed shortly after that event or that situation at that correspondence dinner, and he was like, "Man, that was awesome. I feel so alive." So as a response, a couple of UFC fighters are like, "Hey, man, like if something happens at this fight, Dana White's going to get off on us getting murdered in public. Like we don't want to fight for him." It's insane. I bet the head of garden maintenance at the White House resigned when he was told what they had planned. Oh, they should have. That's the thing, man. We just expect people, like we expect Vanilla Ice to just, share my idea. To not take part in such a grotesque event. But also, who the am I to tell somebody that they can't get that bag, man? He's got to eat. He's probably, he's got mortgages. He's got properties. I couldn't tell somebody how to make their living. I think it's unnecessary risk. I mean, just look at how many, at least one legit attempt at a political assassination of the U.S. president. And okay, so let's have a giant party while we're at war and have more enemies in this moment than we've ever had historically. It makes no sense, dude. I think it's a dumb thing to do. I don't think the fight should happen. The washed up musicians should have never been a thing, dude. Yeah. After this, I'm gonna pull up a couple of the more outspoken UFC fighters that are just like, nah, dude, I'm good on this. I'm not fighting for the Epstein class. And that's what they are.
14 fighters in the sport will make their way to the red, white, and blue octagon on the South Lawn for 7 prime time fights. As in how many people...
This woman sounds like she's like covering a fucking Easter egg hunt or something, dude. Her energy is just wild. Does she realize that this is one of the most controversial things happening in the country right now?
Are expected to attend. Well, the president aims to hold 4,500 fans in the space, and there are plans for 50 to 100,000 spectators to watch the event at Ellipse. That's a public park. It's located directly south of the White House. Now, for some of the fighters, they will have the chance to take home a one-of-a-kind championship belt commemorating. There it is.
Sean Strickland, he's one of them. There's been a couple, and I'm clacking away on another screen here. I'm having a hard time finding it. Let's see. I'll find it. Beautiful belt, though. I mean, these guys are warriors, man. I love sport. I love boxing. I love fighting all the way around. I don't love that the man that runs this organization gets off on chaos and violence, though. I mean, chaos and potential loss of life. If I can find that interview with Dana White, you'll understand. You'll see this crazy with these people. They're so rich that their senses are dull to the point where they need something spectacular and horrible to happen to feel alive, dude. It's a real problem.
That's a huge belt. It's going to commemorate America's birthday. So ring that fighting bell as the White House hosts its first ever professional sporting event. I honestly can't wait. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone.
I'm just going to say it. I hate that lady. I can't wait for this. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Fun for everybody except for the people taking part in it. I don't know, dude. This is, I mean, we don't do Coliseum blood sport, do we? Well, I guess we do. Let's see. Give me a second here. There's so much. Time Magazine just did an interview with Dana White. It's not worth your time, dude. It's just like him pumping his chest, being a douchebagger. I'm only seeing videos of people simping for the president. Here, let me do it this way. Bear with me, guys. I'll get us the goods. Let's see. Oh yeah, Bryce Mitchell. He's an interesting guy. Bryce Mitchell was the guy that said Hitler was a good guy. So there's that. Let's see here. Well, yeah, he's not a fan of Trump, but I don't see anything specific to him. Okay, let me see here. Sorry, I should have had this organized. Please forgive me. Maybe if I use the word boycott, because I know I guess technically they are boycotting the fight. I swear to God, if something happens to Joe Rogan, I'm going to be very upset. Damn it. We got a French news source. Well, since I've been talking about Rogan here, let's look at this. And some dumb music. I'm just going to mute the music and read what's on the screen. Dana is a gambling degenerate. He is. And guess what? He's not even a good gambler. He just loses, let me say, something like $4 to $6 million a day gambling. Guess what? You can become addicted to losing. It's a proven fact. Let's see here. It says Joe Rogan says he doesn't like the idea of holding UFC Freedom 250 at the White House. That's the name of the UFC event, Freedom 250. He told UFC fighter Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy on Wednesday, May 27 episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. Poor Joe can't figure out if he called himself a political refugee. He seems pretty in line now. This is good that he's doing this, though. He broke his alliance in a lot of ways with this. Rogan also said he doesn't think a world championship fight should be happening in a non-controlled environment. That's exactly what I said too. And he's going to announce these fights. I mean, that was pretty much garbage. Sorry for showing you that. I can find something better than that. Taxpayers pay but aren't able to go. Exactly right. Not only are they not able to go, but they can't even watch it unless they have the fucking Amazon Prime or whatever asshole streaming service that's gonna. So, I mean, it's bad. Stacked atop bad. Stacked atop bad. So bear with me. Let me see. Let me see here. Sorry, this is a bit messy. Let's see. He's been outspoken. Everybody's just been waiting for him to talk, and he finally has. Let's see here. Let's Let's see. I mean, Joe Rogan's been talking, I guess, shit on the outdoor fights for a long time. Here, we'll use this guy here. Boom, bap, boom. And bear with me. I know not all of you love Joe Rogan, but he is. The conversation here is relevant because he's the announcer and good friends with the guy that's putting on the fights or owns the UFC. It's just not cricket, mate. Let's see here. All right. So here we go. There we go. I'm sorry that I don't know who this man is that Joe Rogan's talking to.
The White House thing is odd. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of fighting outside at all.
Well, there's problems with it.
And then
done it too many times.
June, and it's DC, and we looked it up the last time, like last year, same day, it was 100 degrees.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
hot as fuck.
Then you add the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the lights.
You add the lights. That attracts bugs.
How about dehydration?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bugs are a big one.
Go back to UFC. Yeah, with all those lights.
Yeah. what
Go
are they
back
gonna
to
do about
UFC
that?
3. See how hot it was.
How are they going to fucking do anything about the bugs? Because I know that Dana was talking about that recently. They were talking about maybe using fans. Is that enough?
No, it's not.
So ridiculous. You're going to keep the mosquitoes away with fans. He's a wrestler, you think? I think these are fighters. If they're not in shorts with mouthpieces in, sometimes I don't recognize them.
Yeah, bug strips everywhere. What are you going to do? Like, how are you going to stop the bugs? There's a lot of bugs.
You can spray. That's pretty much all you can do.
Pesticide the shit
That's
out
good.
of the fucking
Pesticide.
land.
That's good for the fighters. That'll help with their breathing.
I just don't think that you should compete in.
And this is a very logical way to say that you're against this without making it pointed at the president, because, like Miss Bjarnson says in chat here, it says, Joe knows if he crosses Trump, then Trump will go after him and it will ruin his relationship forever. Yeah, I think you might be right. But here's the thing. Joe doesn't really need a relationship with Dana. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, maybe he doesn't need a professional relationship with Dana. I mean, Joe Rogan has hundreds of millions of dollars. He's good. He's good. He never has to work another day in his life. But you may be right about he doesn't want to damage his personal relationship with Dana White, because of course they've known each other. He's known Dana ever since Dana, came up with the idea for the UFC, or stole someone else's idea. In any case, when he created the UFC.
A world championship fight in a non-controlled environment.
Yeah.
I think it should be inside an air-conditioned arena. It should be a controlled environment, just like you don't ask someone to do any of you wouldn't ask them to play a world championship basketball game outside in the sun. No. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Right? You play in a fucking air-conditioned arena, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, but I understand the whole thing, and
I get it
it's
too,
special.
But listen,
but it's going to be a pain in the butt.
A fucking roof.
Yeah.
So Joe's idea. Joe is specifically bothered by the disadvantage that these athletes are going to be put in when putting their title, in many ways, their career on the line. Which I respect. I don't like it for many other reasons. Of course, he is going to protect himself politically and not get into that.
Build a roof. Like, you've got all the money in the world, right? You're doing this. You want to do this for fucking
it's not
America?
my money.
It's 4,000 seats. You build a 4,000 seat arena. Yeah. How big is it? Get a fucking barndominium. Put it in there. Like we did UFCs in the troops. Yeah. We did them in the troops. We did them in hangars.
Yeah. He said a barndominium. That's hilarious. A barndominium, Joe. That's not going to be any better, bud. Anyways, you guys get the idea. We'll watch it for another second or two.
We did, but they want that White House in the background.
Put it in the background on TV. Who gives a fuck? It's just like when world-class fighters are competing, I don't think they should have to compete outside.
Look at they're already putting it in.
Imagine if someone loses a fight because it's too hot out.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if that becomes a factor.
Well, as you know, this is maybe a week and a half old when they began construction of this structure.
Imagine the dehydrated fighters. Like the dehydrated fighters that are now being forced 24 hours later to fight
in 100-degree heat outside,
100-degree heat.
under
Go-
the spotlights.
Go back. I swear to God, UFC 3 was in North Carolina, and it was the hottest thing I've ever been in my life.
It was outside, UFC 3?
No, it wasn't. It was inside with no air conditioning really inside. It was a 3,500 seat arena. They put 6,000 people into it. It was under the lights, had to be 150 degrees. Okay, it was. You saw everyone falling out. Hoist had the problem after chemo and stuff. You know, Ken
that's
Shamrock
what it was,
fell
huh?
out.
The heat.
They all pulled out and stuff. It was, Joe. It was the hottest.
Well, you know what? I am a little bit happy that at least the musicians, that part of this thing has been canceled. We're not going to glean any new information from this guy, so let's just get on out of there. I'm approaching my 3 hours, and that's what I want to do each morning. I know I didn't pack in as many stories this morning, simply because I just wanted to give as much time as possible for the victims of that catastrophe in Washington. Quick Australian story from my Australian friends out there. Australia sues 3M for over $2 billion in a forever chemical damages. The Australian government has launched its largest ever compensation claim regarding I can't say that. PFAS is the acronym, polyfluoroalkyls substances. Australia is suing the U.S. manufacturer conglomerate 3M for over $2 billion Australian dollars, 1.4 billion U.S. dollars, over alleged contamination from firefighting foam at 28 defense bases nationwide. That's terrifying. So, but that's also good. It looks like, well, if you think, I learned this recently, if you think that we had it bad during the pandemic here in the United States, have a look at what happened in Australia, dude. Anyways. In Australia, there's also been a breakthrough in blood cancer treatments. Health Minister Mark Butler announced today that 2 highly effective treatments for blood cancer, including calquins. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that is. Calquins have been officially listed on the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, PBS. The listings drastically reduced the out-of-pocket costs for these targeted therapies, which are expected to benefit over 1,000 Australian patients annually by replacing traditional chemotherapy with more effective, less invasive tablet forms. So very interesting. One lead story in Australia is 3M being sued for cancer-causing chemicals, and then the next one is there's a new drug to treat cancer. I mean, this is protest in Brisbane. Olympic Stadium protests escalate in Brisbane. Protesters have set up camp again at Victoria Park in Brisbane in an attempt to block the construction of a controversial $3.6 billion stadium intended for the 2032 Olympics. Many members of the Aboriginal community are protesting the development, citing that, there's so many parallels between Australia and the United States with the way of our native peoples and the way they've been mistreated by the conquerors. There really are parallels there. Anyways, many members of the Aboriginal community are protesting the development, citing that the site is sacred to the, and I'm going to say this wrong, Yagara? I don't think I said that too wrong. The Yagara people. Unfamiliar, but obviously Aboriginal natives of Australia. This follows clashes on Friday where police physically removed protesters that had set up a tent embassy to halt protests. Let me see if I can quickly find a video of that. Firefighters training foam. So that's terrible. So I get it. That is brutal. All right, let me see here. Let's see if we can get some footage of the Brisbane protest. I saw very similar protests whenever I was stationed in Japan. The Olympics were occurring there. It was just before the Olympics occurred there. And there were many Japanese protesters protesting the ecological impact of these giant stadiums and arenas. I was very lucky. I got a tour of all the biggest facilities, all these Olympic venues, but it was a few months before the Olympics were set to begin. So they were empty, but me and PR work with the Japanese government and the Marine Corps, they picked us up in buses and fed us lunch and showed us around. It was very cool. let's see. Protesters face setback in fight to halt Olympic build at Victoria Park. All right, so I know nothing about Australian media, so this is 9 News Australia. Maybe my Aussie friends in the chat can tell me if they're someone we can trust, but let's have a look anyways. Let me see here. Rod, is this like your CNN? Let's see here. Bing bong.
Tomorrow will mark the beginning of Brisbane's Olympic legacy, with construction to begin on the Games' centrepiece stadium at Victoria Park. At midnight, the park will be closed off to the public, but protesters haven't gone down without a fight, making a last-ditch effort today to block the build.
Outside the People's Park, they harnessed people power. Hundreds lining Hurston Road in an 11th hour bid to keep hands off the site.
I'm just appalled. I mean, I'm just outraged. I just think the whole thing's disgusting. I'm prepared to fight for it until it's saved.
I love the spirit of people standing up for what's right. America used to do that better than anybody. Well, actually, I take that back. Nobody protests as well as France does. That's just a fact. In many ways, they created the protest.
Will in years to come be home to Brisbane's Olympic Stadium.
I think it's a tragedy that it's going to be bulldozed and concreted over.
At midnight, Victoria Park will close to the public. Heavy machinery's moved in and fences have already gone up, sparking violent clashes on Friday between police and traditional owners who'd set up camp here.
This is something we see, at least they don't have masks on like they do in the United States. So, but I don't know, dude. It's great. Like I said, it's great to see people standing up for what they believe in. Unfortunately, as we see historically, a lot of these efforts are just futile.
This is our land. Always was, always will be.
Today, officers watched from afar. Overnight, it's expected the tents will come down.
The reality is it's going to be a construction site, and you can't have people protesting and living in tents in a construction site.
And tomorrow, the land will no longer be owned by council, but the Olympic Games Delivery Authority.
We're about to lose something precious due to an act of barbarism.
9 News has obtained exclusive mapping revealing which parts of the park will be shut down and where access will remain. From tonight, fencing will close.
I wish I could tell you I'm not as familiar with, the social woes of Australia, but, whenever the Olympics happen in American cities, there's always controversy, oftentimes protest as well. But what happens in the darkness leading up to these Olympics is they round up the homeless people and they put them in the cheapest, nearest hotel, and then the government just pays the bill. They displace people, and they basically, out of embarrassment, they don't want the world to see that we have a bunch of homeless people, so they ship them to the next town over, and it is what it is, I guess.
Close off the green space surrounded by the Inner Northern Busway and Gilchrist Avenue, including this section which borders the ICB. The central footpath and bikeway will remain open while building's underway, as will the site of the future aquatic centre where Centenary Pool currently sits and the urban pump track. But there'll be no pedestrian access from the QUT or Hurston bus stations. It's the end for the Victoria Park Golf Complex. Locals turning out today to say farewell to the driving range, putt-putt course and bistro.
We're here today because we got married here back in 2014, and we thought, being the last day of operation, we'd love to come and celebrate with some friends and just relive the memories.
But the Premier maintains this is generational infrastructure in the making.
It'll be there for concerts, it'll be there for sport, it'll be there as a green space for people to be able to go and enjoy every single day.
Junior footy player Beau Martell will turn the first sod on the building site.
I guess it's kind of a bit of a mark in history, so it's pretty amazing that, Beau was picked.
When construction begins tomorrow, it'll mark one of the most significant milestones toward becoming an Olympic city since Brisbane secured the Games back in 2021. But protesters say it won't bring an end to their campaign.
We have not given up. It is not a done deal, and we are still fighting, and we need you.
Abby Guerin is live from the park tonight. Abby, good evening to you. Demonstrators are facing, though, another setback in that fight this evening.
Mia, good evening. There is one final legal avenue they are leaning upon, which allows the federal government to step in and issue a declaration to protect a significant Aboriginal site if it is deemed to be under threat. There are 7 applications by members of the public for a
Just to play devil's advocate, as if the devil needs any more advocates. Did the protesters have an alternate site? I mean, already the Olympics are slated to occur there. So obviously the athletes need, facilities to perform their craft. So this is specifically because of the land, but I think you'll be pretty hard to find this same type of protest in just about anywhere in Australia. So I don't know what the alternative is, or if anybody even cares to offer an alternative. I'll try to find out.
Declaration of that kind to be made in relation to Victoria Park. But I can tell you tonight that the Federal Environment Minister, Murray Watt, has today knocked back 2 of those applications. The remainder, they are still being assessed. But it's worth noting that even if those declarations are made, they won't stop this project from going ahead. They'll simply require some amendments to be made to the stadium design to protect any culturally significant areas of the park. As for the camp here this evening, well, it's still standing at the moment. Those who are here tell me they won't be going anywhere willingly, which will make for some tense scenes over the coming hours, Mia, as authorities move.
I have to admit, Rod, I'm completely ignorant as to, what homelessness looks like in Australia. Obviously, large cities, same common problems worldwide. Rod says they don't help the homeless here. Some people try to help here, but I'm not sure if any help is being had. That's not true. I can't be that bitter. There are organizations that actually are out there right now as we speak, doing physicals on people, knocking on people's tents and bringing breakfast. So we do try. Unfortunately, when the government gets involved, they start these organizations, and ultimately it ends up with like CEOs of nonprofits building mansions like almost every single time. All right, so that's that. Shout out to the Australian people for standing up for what they believe in. We'd love to see that. That's all I've got for you for today. Like I said, I want to keep this to 3 hours in the morning, blazing drama at 5 o'clock this afternoon for 3 hours. I will see you there. But I'm going to end with a lighthearted story. There's this asshole zebra in Lincoln, California. This guy's been breaking out of his cage for the last 10 years. He hates to be enclosed, and he keeps finding clever ways to get out. So I'm going to introduce you to Zeus, the zebra. It says, I have to give a shout out to a zebra named Zeus out of Lincoln, California. Zeus recently decided he was absolutely done with his enclosure and made a break for it. But he didn't just escape once. After animal control finally managed to wrangle him and get him back home, Zeus waited a couple of days and broke out again. He's managed to pull off 4 successful escapes in just 5 days, taking a couple of unauthorized neighborhood strolls before officials finally outsmarted him for good. No animals or people were harmed. Have a look. Let's see here. This is Zeus. They say Northern California. It's not. It's Central California. In fact, Sacramento is the exact geological center of the state of California.
Day, a wild call for animal services in Placer County when someone reported an animal some of them had never seen in real life before. You can see it here. It's a zebra.
Yeah, thankfully had a happy ending, but not before shocking a lot of people, including the crews who responded. CBS 13's Brady Halblad has that story.
He looks like he's going to go in. It's not the call Placer County Animal Services gets often. In fact, it may be the first.
We weren't sure if that's what we were going to come across or not.
When crews arrived near West Wise Road just outside of Lincoln on Friday, there it was. A zebra stopping traffic and shocking drivers.
They were potentially dealing with a wild animal that was not going to be okay with being confined in a trailer.
With multiple officers responding, they used portable panels to corral the animal into a trailer.
Holy shit, Rod says, there's only 2 houses available for rent in my town, but 24 application. My son is one. Well, he's going to get that. Man, that's insane, Rod. I don't even know what to think about that.
Ultimately, he was really cooperative and ended up walking himself onto the trailer without injuring himself and without any of our staff getting hurt.
On these country roads just outside of Lincoln, it wouldn't be unheard of to come across a cow or a horse on the road. But what about a zebra? Well, that's exactly what Barbara Miller came across on Friday.
At first, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Miller was among the first to report the animal, still trying to make sense of what she was actually looking at.
I'm like, am I really seeing a zebra?
Zebras are legal to own in California as long as the owner has the proper space, food, and experience. Animal Services says they checked with Fish and Wildlife and confirmed the owner was indeed allowed to have the animal before returning him home safely.
I think the owner needs to walk his property line.
Wait, I had no idea this was a privately owned zebra. Who knew that, dude? That's crazy. I want one. Also, you shouldn't have these, right? I want an alpaca, dude, just because they've got so much personality. Probably never going to happen, but what the hell? This guy's just, hey, man, I'm surprised that the city's not, waging huge fines against this guy. I do have one more story. It's about a cow. Her name's Veronica, and she's a genius.
As for the zebra, since Friday, he has gotten out again and returned home again. And if you're wondering his name, it's Zeus, a fitting name for a zebra that for one afternoon ruled the road.
He just likes to wander, I guess. I don't know. Zeus likes to roam a bit.
He's a curious dude. I respect that. I am as well. All right, so let's see here. Let me show you one more thing here. This is Veronica, the genius cow. This is too good. Let's see, where's it at? There it is. This cow, well, she learned how to use tools.
Researchers in Austria have just reported the first known case of tool use in a cow. Meet Veronica. She's a 13-year-old Swiss brown cow living in the Carinthian region of southern Austria. When she was just 3 years old, she started picking up sticks to scratch.
You guys know what the sexiest animals on the farm are, don't you, right? Brown chicken, brown cow.
Herself. And now, at the age of 13, she's perfected her technique. When researchers traveled to meet her, they presented her with a broom, a tool with 2 distinct ends. And, as you would expect, Veronica generally picked it up by the handle to scratch herself with the bristles. But sometimes she deliberately chose the other end.
Looks like my neighbor that's always sitting on his porch scratching his ass.
So she could poke at sensitive areas with the smoother surface of the handle. This means Veronica can adapt her use of a multi-purpose tool based on the task, something otherwise only seen in chimpanzees. But despite this being the first scientific study of such behavior, Veronica isn't alone. Videos online show other cows doing similar things, including Brahman bulls, which belong to a lineage that diverged from Veronica's perhaps as far back as 2 million years ago. So, it appears the capacity to...
It is beautiful. And I mean, look at how nice of a neighborhood she lives in, too. It looks like there's several different variants of grass to eat. Oh, she's like, all right, I'm famous. I'm just scratching my ass over here.
Innovate tool use runs deep in bovine nature. We just haven't been looking for it.
The ability to use complex tools is what separated man from animals since the dawn of time. While many animals are known to use tools, like sea otters using rocks to crack open shellfish.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I just said this will be the last story. Then I have an outro song. We're going to listen to Atmospheres, Sunshine. It's all sunshine. It ain't nothing but sunshine. We're trying to end on a positive note. And we'll be back at 5 o'clock for some drama. Once again, back here at 7 a.m. tomorrow for a whole new block of brand new stories and breaking news and some updates as to things we've been following.
Or crows fashioning hooks out of twigs to get to a meal of insect larvae. Only chimpanzees are known to use a variety of tools, like rocks and sticks, for multiple purposes. That is, until now. Meet Veronica.
This is way more than what you should expect for any cow that belongs to a farm.
They're using some of the same stock footage, just different commentary.
The 13-year-old Swiss brown cow has been observed scratching herself with a broom, making her the first bovine known to use a tool.
Veronica has been using tools for 9 years. She started using tools as an innovation, her own discovery, by picking up branches, fallen branches of trees and scratching herself with them.
But unlike, say, an elephant using a branch to scratch an itch, Veronica has developed a specific technique.
Just a shout out to Veronica's owner, who's like, hey, maybe if I give her a nice rough bristled broom, she can scratch her ass on her own. Genius.
She uses different parts of the broom on different parts of her body. The broom's bristles on tough skin on her back. The smooth end of the handle on her more sensitive underbelly. 4 different uses altogether.
When she was using the handle end of this tool, she was using a way more careful approach of poking and pushing, gently poking and pushing.
Scientists say Veronica shows that cows may be smarter than we think, and others could develop similar skills.
This is shocking to us, even for us. People who dedicate their lives to study animal minds and tool use.
The music, though.
I mean, she's the Albert Einstein of cows.
I love it. I love it. We really don't know the intellectual abilities of some of these animals. And it gives me hope. Veronica, you're a star. And you're in
Austria is just an ugly looking country, isn't it? Just kidding. It's stunning. It's overwhelming. This is the Sound of Music shit right here. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you today. I'll see you back here at 5 o'clock for some drama. I know you like the drama. What's up, Casey? Oh, Casey's coming in at the end. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do this every weekday morning until I get sick of it. So if you see any breaking news stories that I'm missing, email them to me if you want me to share them. Someone sent me a video of the orangutan in the golf cart in reference to old crackhead Rebecca Turner. That's kind of funny. I think I'll show that this afternoon. And also another one of our chatters sent in a picture of a unique McDonald's that is in their hometown that they go to with their kids. So I'm going to show that tonight too. And a bunch of stuff, dude. I feel reinvigorated. I feel like I'm just really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. You guys are the best. I enjoy my time spent here with you, and I hope you do as well. So please, we're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the 4th of July, and I never say die. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I do realize it's a kind of a lofty goal, but that's still the goal. We're just shy of 100 subscribers of 4,000, and then the march continues. So tell your friends. I tell you what, Don't invite any assholes over here, but if you know any decent people that would like to hang out with us, let them know about us, you know? And let me just get rid of this and bring up the music. I can't think of a better song to end with than Sunshine. It's sunny here. I'm going to get outside. I'll see you guys at 5 o'clock. Oh, I'm still nursing a bit of a cough too, so I'm being a mute button ninja. So bear with me next couple of days while I get my throat situation sorted out. Thanks for being here. Take care of yourselves. That way you could be in good shape to go help other people. That's what we're here on Earth for. That's always been my philosophy. It's just that simple. Help people out. Help your neighbors. Start in your own house. Then you get to your neighbors, and then you work your way out from there. This is Atmosphere Sunshine. If I missed anything in chat and you guys were trying to say something to me, shoot me an email. So I do miss stuff. I can be absent-minded this early in the morning. And I will talk to you guys at 5 p.m. Let's get this. There we go. Bing bong. I'll see you guys later. Sinner out. Well, I will say that this, I forgot the intro to the song mentions a hangover. Let me tell you how nice how nice life is in never having a hangover again. It's a crazy thing to do that to yourself, and I'm so happy I'm on the other side of it. If you're struggling out there with your stuff, you keep up that fight, man. You got to stay alive. Sinner out.
Ain't no way to explain or say how painful the hangover was today. In front of the toilet, hands and knees, trying to breathe in between the dry heaves. My baby made me some coffee, afraid that if I drink some, it's probably coming right back out me. Couple of Advil, relax and chill, at a standstill with how bad I feel. I think I need to smell fresh air, so I stepped out the back door and fell down the stairs. The sunlight hit me dead in the eye, like it's mad that I gave half the day to last night. My bad sight made me trip on my ass right into that patch of grass, like that's life. All of a sudden, I realized something. The weather is amazing, even the birds are bumping. Stood up and took a look and a breath, and there's that bike that I forgot that I possessed. Never really seen exercise as friendly, but I think something's telling me to ride that 10 speed. The brakes are broken, that's alright. The tires got air and the chain seems tight. Hopped on, it felt the summertime. It reminds me of one of them Moosab lines, like sunshine, sunshine is fine. I feel it in my skin, warming up my mind. Sometimes you gotta give in to win. I love the days when it shines. Whoa, let it shine. Sunshine, sunshine is fine. I feel it in my skin, warming up my mind. Sometimes you gotta give in to win. I love the days when it shines. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it. If I could, I would keep this feeling in a plastic jar. Bust it out whenever someone's acting hard. Settle down, barbecue in the backyard. The kids get treats and old folks get classic cars. Every day that gets to pass is a success, and every woman looks better in a sundress. The sunshine's an excuse to shoot hoops, get juice, show and prove them moves and let loose. I hear voices, I see smiles to match them. Good times, and you can feel it in the fashion. Even though the heat cooks up the action, the streets still got butterflies, enough kids to catch them. Riding my bike around these lakes, man, feeling like I finally figured out my escape plan. Take it all in, the day started off all wrong, but somehow now that hangover is all gone. Ain't nothing like the sound of the leaves when the breeze penetrates these southside trees. Leaning up against one, watching the vibe, forgetting all about the stress, thanking God I'm alive. It's so simple, I had to keep the song simple. And when I get home, I'm gonna open all the windows, feeling alright. Stopped at a stop sign, a car pulled up, bumping Fresh Prince of Summertime. Summer, summer sign. I feel it in my skin, warming up my mind. Sometimes you gotta give in to win. I love the days when it shines. Whoa, let it shine. Sunshine, sunshine is fine. I feel it in my skin, warming up my mind. Sometimes you gotta give in to win. I love the days when it shines. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa, let it shine. it shine. Whoa, let it shine. Whoa.